Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there.
Sure. Yeah.
Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
Welch's can't make everything make sense. Like why your mom still listens to the radio or what she meant when she sent that emoji. But a zero sugar drink that's still full of fruit flavor, we made that make sense. And strawberry, passion fruit, Concord grape, and more. You gotta sip it to get it. New Welch's Zero Sugar. Let's fruit stuff up.
This week in Wittmann, Arizona, a very minor incident leads to meat tenderizers and a beheading, but these particular touches look pretty familiar to the detectives. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today on another crazy edition of Small Town Murder.
Yeah.
And this week, we have an Arizona case. And you know, we always go at those with a little extra gusto. So we'll buckle up for that one. And they're always crazy, too, because...
Yeah, they really pay off.
Yeah, there's no normal murders in Arizona. It is the Florida of the West, and we'll tell you all about it because
It is fire Florida.
We have a combined 50 years of Arizona experience under our belts here, so we got this. Anyway, quickly, before we get to all that insane case, just want to thank everyone for their reviews. Please do that if you haven't. Whatever platform you're listening to, you can review on just about all of them nowadays, and they don't hurt ever, so please do that. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com right now. Get your tickets to live shows.
Yes.
Live shows coming up, especially the ones on April 8th and 9th, which are Pittsburgh and Columbus, Ohio.
Right.
Get your tickets to those. They're almost gone, actually. So get them now and get in there and see us. We can't wait to see you. That's going to be fun. Both of those places have very good audiences, so
they sure do.
We're excited for that. We are
very similar to places like Minneapolis and Chicago, where we just were, and you guys were fucking amazing.
That was great.
Thank you.
Chicago, the venue had a liquor license thing because they were reopening after COVID, and I don't know if you were pre-gaming or just sober or what, but awesome audience. You guys were great.
Truly,
Thank you so much for that. So get your tickets. Get on also on the site. You can find all the merch that you could possibly want, everything like that. Patreon this week is cooking, and it's good. It's smelling good throughout the house. It's wafting. You can smell it. Patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get everything. $5 or above. Anybody, you get access to all of the Patreon. Crime and Sports Patreon, Small Town Murders Patreon, all the bonus episodes. This week we're going to do for Crime and Sports something that everybody likes. It's one of our favorites that we get here. It is our personal ads, where we go back in time for few years, and we got all through the decades, and we pick personal ads out of newspapers from back in the day, and we read them.
Remember those?
Wow, are they crazy? And they're so much fun, and that's a fan favorite, so that's a good one. And then for Small Town Murders, we are going to talk about this documentary just because we've been overwhelmed with requests to. The Tinder Swindler. We have to talk about it because it has a lot to do with, it feels like a small town murder, even though it happens in big cities all over. It feels very like, has that vibe to it, like someone's about to get killed.
It was going to end that way. And eventually.
Then somehow nobody dies, but we'll talk about it. It's a
Somebody
scammy thing.
Gonna, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Patreon.com/crime and sports, that is. And you'll get a shout out at the end of the show.
Oh, you bet.
Which Jimmie will mess your name up, even if he tries to get it right. Or you can just go to PayPal to get a shout out and use our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com. That said, here, disclaimer time. This is a comedy show.
It is.
We're comedians. We're going to make jokes about things, obviously, but there's certain things that they don't really need jokes because it just doesn't work there. You know what I mean? Like if there's somebody, it's not hilarious when someone's getting their head removed. We never go, oh my God, I bet there's blood all up. Like that's not funny. The funny thing is someone going, I bet I can cut his head off, then I'll get away with it. That's funny. The thought that you can get away with, that's hilarious. So we'll talk about that sort of thing. There's plenty to joke around this thing. And what we don't do, though, what we never do, is we don't make fun of the victims or the victims' families.
Why, James?
Because we're assholes,
but
we're not scumbags.
There you have it.
That's how that works. So if that sounds good to you, welcome aboard. It's going to be crazy. If not, I don't know. Maybe you don't like true crime and comedy together. Just don't complain later. You might like it. Trust me. It makes it a little bit easier. It's not, rather than the murder porn of, and then the head was removed. That's a little much for me.
Gross.
We like to try to lighten the load a little bit here. So that sounds good to you, as I know it does to Jimmie. Let's sit back, clear the lungs.
Oh, boy.
And shout, shut up.
Shut up and give me murder.
Let's do this, Jimmie.
All right.
Let's go on a trip, shall we?
Oh, it's a short one.
It's a short trip. We're hopping, skipping, and jumping, especially from, here where we are, your house. It's really close, actually.
It's literally 20 minutes down the road.
It's right there. It's scarily enough, man. I don't know how you can live so close to such a horrible place. Where you live sucks, too, though. It's in the middle of the desert.
It's not good here.
It's just not good. This is Wittmann.
And I liked it because it was quiet, and then I didn't know that airplanes fly over me.
Oh, they fly over a lot.
It would be so quiet if it wasn't for that goddamn Luke Air Force Base.
I was going to say, these aren't like airplanes like this isn't like the Delta flight to Portland. This is this is the Air Force flight to Kabul. This is a different, completely
200 feet off the ground.
Yeah, this is a different flight. It's loud. Wittmann, Arizona. This is. It's in central Arizona. It's outside of Phoenix. It's about 50 minutes to downtown Phoenix, so it's not
it's a piece of shit is what it is.
It's gross. And now, since Phoenix has gotten insanely expensive in the last 3 years, like the housing prices have pretty much doubled in the last 3 years. It's gotten,
I would say, literally insulting and obscene.
It's obscene. We're talking crappy houses on a little plot of desert. When you hear about it, you go, well, like L.A. Well, there's also an ocean by L.A. Like there's a thing that none of that exists in Arizona. It's just the desert, so it makes no earthly sense. And so Wittmann has actually, now it's just new construction like crazy, that whole place.
Yeah.
It's just going crazy with people who are going to live in Wittmann and commute into this. Oh, God. So it's about 2.5 hours up to Flagstaff. So you got to get over to the 17.
Right.
And about an hour 20 over to Apache Junction, which was our last Arizona episode 224, The Devil Come to Earth. And woof, that was a wild one. I was mad.
The difference between the two, James, is not much.
It's not. They're on opposite sides of Phoenix. One's in like the southeast corner, one's in the northwest corner, and they're both a disaster.
Identicals.
Phoenix itself is trash. So anything bordering it is like trash that can't even get into the trash pile. So it's not good. It's not good.
And the people there are just as bad.
Yes, and if you live in Maricopa and you're trying to get out of there, our heart goes out to you. We're not picking on you. You know why you want to leave. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
So it is Maricopa County, and we can, like I said, God damn it, we've paid so many Arizona taxes, we can say any fucking thing we want. We pay for years and years and years. Every one of our terrible jobs, we've paid it plenty of Arizona taxes. So it's in Maricopa County, area code 623 out there, obviously. Motto here, I mean, and it's clear as day, and I would say it's a good motto. Quote, "Keep on driving, mister. Ain't nothing to see here." Should be on the fucking sign.
Wickenburg, you're almost there.
It's pretty much, Wickenburg's not good either. History of this town, this is the most appropriate thing ever for a town. Mm-hmm. The town's first name wasn't Wittmann. It was Nadaburg, meaning nothing's
not
here.
Wickenburg.
Not Wickenburg, nada, N-A-D-A. Which is
is that right?
Yeah,
Nothingburg?
Nothing in Spanish. It's Nothingburg is what it means. This town sucks.
So appropriate.
And there is a Nothing, Arizona, by the way, where there is
that's
nothing.
true.
And there's a Baghdad, Arizona as well, where there's nothing there either.
Right. There's Miami also.
Yeah, at least there's some things there.
Globe, Miami. It used to be a mining area. It's still a piece of shit.
Oh, it's bad. Yeah, anything out there is not good. So the railroad here, who built the Southern Transcontinental Railroad, think of Blazing Saddles right here. This is what's going on. This railroad, they built this here, named the site Nadaburg for years. So there was the railroad who named it Nadaburg. They're like, that place where there's nothing. Yeah, that shit, not a shithole place. Yeah, Berg, that one.
The one after Wickenburg? You mean nothing? Yeah, Nothingburg. That's the one.
Yeah, Wickenburg and then Shitburg out there. We can't call it Shitburg? All right, well, nota'll do, I guess, there. So the area was formally open to homesteading on December 29th, 1916. So you could just take land.
Just pick it.
Please have some, because nobody wants this. It's dangerous to live here. You're far away from the city center where water and other resources might be. It's just you in the desert. So,
and the water table's like fucking 5 miles deep.
Oh, it's bad. It's bad stuff there. It's not good. This is just a 60s Clint Eastwood movie, and you're staggering through it with your lips are split from the sun. It's not good.
And there's sand in your teeth.
No shit. William Hovey Griffin, who was from Texas, he founded Nadaburg, filed his homestead petition in 1920, and apparently I think he was the first person to file a homestead petition, even though it was open for like 9 months of homestead. Like nobody wanted it. Finally, one guy's like, I'll take it, I guess. Shit, I don't know.
Buy low.
So Joseph Wittmann here. Now, he's here. He wanted to build a dam on the, what the hell is that river called? Hassayampa River, to irrigate water to the town of Nadaburg, okay? Right. His father-in-law started this whole thing that he wanted to do it, and this Joseph Wittmann's going to take on the task, okay? So in 1926, lots and tons of land were given to this Wittmann man by the citizens of Nadaburg.
Really?
In support of the construction of the dam. They wanted the water so bad, they were like, I have extra land you can have. Just take it.
You finance the dam, we'll give you land in return.
Absolutely. They were such heroes, these Wittmanns, that they wanted to do this, that the people of the town forced the name change to Wittmann because he was bringing water. They gave him his land, their land. They named the town after him, right? We're
so parched, Mr. Wittmann.
He's going to irrigate the fields, finally. My cattle can drink. And I mean, it was wild. And there was other land and claims there and all this type of shit. So the problem is, this guy is a fuck up. Is Joseph Wittmann, and for whatever reason he's unable to pull this off. He can't get any of this done, and so at some point the town sues him. So now they've named the town after him, and then 2 years later, they're like, what a fucking asshole, and they're all suing him. They've dragged him.
Whitman v. Whitman in court.
Dude, imagine, I just picture them dragging him to the town square, like by his shirt collar. He's being dragged. I swear to God, I'm trying.
Well, I've been to the Hacienda River before, James, and it's dry. So
it might not have been dry in
1926,
though. Yeah. I mean, that's we're talking 100 years ago.
But I think the Hacienda River, I think it's just always been a riverbed that's like it only runs when it rains, man.
Well, then shit, it's their own fucking fault then that they didn't realize that. He's gonna dam the river. No one said like, hey, there's no water in the river, so what's he damming? So they're all morons then, and it's all their own fault. So
gonna dam the dust.
I just love that. He's a hero. No, he's not. Reviews of this town. Oh, my favorite reviews. There's a bunch of them. They're short and they're awesome. These are just one of the best batches we've had in a long time here. 4 stars. This is like a good pot of chili. You're like, it's a good one. It's a good batch. 4 stars. This is the best review you can find here. No 5-star reviews. Quote, Wittmann is growing fast. New homes build from 203rd to 225th. They mean Avenue. Avenue. Out there. That's way far west. Great for horse lovers and RV hauling. Overall, I'll give it a 4. Well, thank you. Just love the overall. I'll give it a 4. 3 stars. Wittmann needs to modernize. There are a lot of places that need fixing up so it isn't a dump. Otherwise, it's a great place to live, quiet and safe.
That person thinks the city comes through and fixes your house for you?
I don't know. What. There are a lot of places that need fixing up. Maybe they mean like, I don't know, municipal...
They better hope
facilities,
that.
Parks, with like a hoop dangling. I don't know what's going on here, but
basically there's nothing there.
They said if it wasn't a dump, it'd be a great place to live. That's not reassuring. 3 stars. The center of town is really small, but the area does expand. Oh, good. It includes desert. Thank you. Where there's shit, that's small, but then there's a bunch of desert around it, so it's fine.
Right.
Many people live out this way. That's many people. That could mean, what do you that just depends on what this person considers many.
That depends on how high you can count. Because
50's many. That's a many people, I guess. So is 10,000. I mean, who knows what they're doing? A lot, and many. We need specifics. A lot of vacant or abandoned properties get stripped down and things get stolen a lot around here. Yeah, those are crackheads stealing the copper and the aluminum and shit. The cost of housing has gone up to where the house itself really isn't worth the pricing a lot of times, I think. No, it's not. Wait till you see this. We have utilities, but where I live, I can't get the internet unless it's through satellite or hotspot, which I hate. You live in the middle of the fucking desert. What do you want? You're not going to be hooked up to a cable to anybody else. You live in the middle of the desert. You have to figure it out on your own.
He's got a satellite?
Yeah.
Internet?
If you want internet, you got to beam it from space your own goddamn self. That's the thing. Yeah. You live in the middle of the desert, you asshole, as Sam Kinison said.
Hubcaps in a tree.
No shit. 2 stars. It is not the worst people. Don't just get shot around here. What?
It's not the worst people that just get shot? Is that what they're saying?
Quote, it is not the worst people don't just get shot around here. I don't know what that means, but I am fucking, this is terrible. But there are a lot of break-ins and drugs around here. So a lot of around here. 1 star. This is very specific. 1 star. Terrible customer service at Tom's Bar! Exclamation point. Thanks. This is just for the town. I called and reserved a table and then drove all the way over there only to find the place was shut down. Do not recommend.
Wait, where did you reserve a table then?
That's what I'm saying. You called a place. They said, yeah, sure, come in, and then shut down while you were on the way? Is that... I think you called the wrong place.
I think so, too. And I think you're also on the wrong website. Go to Yelp.
I think somewhere there's a goddamn Applebee's with an open table going, I don't think that reservation's coming. We can put someone there. Anyway, 1 star. Wittmann is a very small town. The trailer park makes it crap.
The whole town is a trailer park. What are you talking about?
That makes me think like the trailer park makes the town actually crap. Not makes it bad.
Makes it have diarrhea.
Yeah. It's called Devil's Kitchen. Never heard it called that before.
No.
And half the trailers are abandoned or burnt down because they were meth labs. That's true.
James, what if the trailer park's called Devil's Kitchen?
That's possible, yeah.
I'll bet it's true.
Lots of drugs and desert is a dumping ground for trash. Yeah, that's right. That's Wittmann. 1 star. There's a Subway at the Shell gas station and a bar.
And it's right next to Tom's.
Apparently Tom's there, which you don't want to reserve a table because it'll shut down.
That's all that's in this town. That's where you get your groceries, is at the Shell.
That is scary shit. People in this town, the perfect number, 666, Jimmy, 666 on the people.
Are you serious?
Hand to fucking Satan, Jimmy. There you go, 666.
Swear to the devil.
Swear
to Satan.
Rock on. So
666 in Wittmann, Arizona. Devil's Kitchen, all of fucking.
Maybe that's why it's the Devil's Kitchen, the 666.
This place is a dump.
This place sucks a dick is what it is.
It's cursed.
It's a cursed, methy desert shithole.
Where you can't get a table.
Not happening. It's way more male than female, which is always not a good sign when it's like too many dudes. You don't want that. You want
444 of those.
It's like 55% guys, which that means either women are scared of it, or these guys have buried all the women in the desert, or it's a problem. And guys, this isn't anything. I'm not saying we shouldn't have guys around. I'm saying, guys, what would you rather have?
Right.
Men would prefer like 20% male population. That's the ideal. Yep. That's the ideal balance we're looking for. Median age is 37 and a half. It's about normal, but they get there in a weird way. 31% of the people are 35 to 44, which is 3 times the normal. Then they have 3 times the normal kids that are 10 to 17 as well. And they have 0% of people over the age of 75.
That makes sense.
They kill. It's like
wither and die.
Well, no, they on your 75th birthday, you're just, what is it, like ritually beheaded and buried in the desert. I feel like that's the way it is out there. We can't support you anymore. Not enough water, Grandpa.
Take you to Tom's and kill you after closing time.
This is a statistic of a town chock full of sex offenders, is what it is. This is like a bunch of kids and guys at 35 to 44 have heard about it, and they're coming there. It's like 55% married, but it's 3 times the divorce rate of normal here. 51% are single with children.
Is that right?
It's normally 10%. 51%. Normally 10. Think about that. Okay? Not that that's bad, but that's just statistically aberrant. We'll put it that way. Race, 89.5% white, 0.0% black, 2.8% Asian, and 0% Hispanic, Jimmy.
Not a one.
In Wittmann.
What?
Okay, we've lived in Phoenix a long time.
Oh, my God.
There's a couple of Mexican people there. Just a couple.
Several. Yeah.
I mean, a couple, one or two. You'd think that just sounds crazy.
Not one in Wittmann.
None. Religion in this town, 40% religious here, and it's spread around pretty good, so there's no dominant religion here. Let's see here at all, 0.4% Jewish. Seed. No, there's not really a one seed. There's some Baptists, there's some Catholics, a Pentecostal or two.
Everybody's an 8 seed.
Yeah, a few 7% Mormon. It's interesting. Politics here, I don't know if this has anything to do with Wittmann, but Maricopa County in civilization, which is most of the counties in civilization, other than out here, who knows? They could have voted.
All bets are off, James.
That's what I mean. They could have voted for dead people out here. Like, I'm voting for Evel Knievel. Like, who the fuck knows what these people are voting
Somebody
for?
wrote in Klonopin, I guarantee it.
But the rest of the county was 50.1% Democrat, 48% Republican, 1.9% Independent. Unemployment rate's about average, but the median household income is not. In the rest of the country, it's like $57,000. Here, median household income is $22,156.
Oh, dear God.
Which is so low. And the cost of living, overall, $100 is regular. Here, it's $114, so it's not even cheap to live here. Housing is $136 now.
Yeah.
Median home cost. Now, keep in mind, $22,000 is your median household income. $431,400 is the median home cost. It's obscene. Dude, you can't get even in Wittmann anymore in Phoenix. It's so expensive.
On $20,000, you're supposed to pay for a $400,000 house?
Nope, you're supposed to move farther into the desert, I think, is the way the plot of this whole thing.
Go west of Wickenburg.
Maybe we've talked you into it, and if we have, we have for you, everyone, the Wittmann, Arizona Real Estate Report. Your average 2-bedroom rental here goes, it's like the national average, $1,261 a month, which...
Fuck out of here.
22 grand a year is not going to cover that. This is the cheapest place I could find. Besides, like, they had like little plots of desert that were sort of a little cheaper, and it was just like a plot of dust. This is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 896 square feet. It's a patio home. You know those patio homes out on the west side? Patio home.
Attached to each other?
No. But it's like a freestanding patio home. Tiny little thing. Bleak as shit. Nothing growing around it. Nothing. Looks very hot. Looks like you'd step out of your house and your yard would be like, oh, God, it's so hot out there to the touch.
Not a bit of shade.
$299,000 for this.
Oh, God.
Okay.
$300,000 to live in 800 square feet in Wittmann.
Wow. 3-bedroom, 1-bath. 1,188 square feet. It looks like a nightmare from a Western. Like you would be in it with your family and these cowboys would come up and, rape your wife and slaughter your kids, and that would
circle the house,
kidnap your daughter and murder you and, take you apart with their horses and shit. Looks terrible. Not a blade of grass for many miles. I mean, miles. 320 grand for this slice of heaven. Finally, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,414 square foot here. New construction. Looks like Arizona. Adobe, wood shit, harness crap over the wine.
Stucco shit.
Yeah, typical, just kind of whatever. It has also the RV gate it has and all that shit.
Nice.
It's pretty not good. It's just a new plain house.
Yeah.
$743,000.
What?
Yeah, I don't even know what to say about that. That's just
James, I'm sitting on a property right now, probably worth $12 billion.
$12 billion, and he bought it for he bought it for 130 grand like 8 months ago. That's the thing you don't understand about it. It's how quickly the market has gone up.
$700,000 is they're out of their fucking. There's no way that's worth it.
I hope no one pays. That's terrible. Things to do here. Okay, there is Robson's Ranch and Mining Camp. That's in nearby Wickenburg, which is also a real fucking treasure.
It's a real treat.
It's a real gem. An old mining camp.
They have a tasty freeze, for Christ's sake.
Oh man, they think it's the 40s still. They don't even know. So they're working on it. So the first mine here, the first claim was in 1917, and it's one of the oldest and best preserved original mining claims in Arizona. You can do stunning vista views and saguaro forest. You can see that. Cattle drives.
Vista views, James?
Vista views. Vista views, yeah.
You know what a vista is? That's view in Spanish.
It's a view. That's what I mean.
They said views view.
Yeah. The vista views is white men can't jump. Ain't no vista and there ain't no views, and there sure as hell ain't no vista or no views and no vista or whatever the fuck she said, and it's fucking great.
They're both the same words.
Makes no sense. I know, it makes no sense. Saguaro Forest, cattle drives, if you have a group event, you can do that. And pistol shooting and horseback riding, and then authentic cowboy games and grub. What cowboy games are you playing? Pharaoh? What the fuck are you talking about?
Play that cane game, I'll blow you up that Wildcat ass.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm only going off a Tombstone and Deadwood here, but I think
like playing cards with my brother's kids or something.
Poker and Pharaoh. That's what we had. How'd you get you to a Pharaoh table? So
no,
there's
I
that.
said poker's an honest game. Only fools bet their odds on Pharaoh.
Fuck yeah. So the Arizona Horse Carriage and Wagon Museum, I guess. It sounds boring as shit. You take a ride in the desert on a fucking... If it's under, 96 degrees, I guess that's fine. You still better bring...
Christ.
I mean, otherwise you're just going to be...
You're going to be on fire out there.
It's so hot. Crime rate in this town, what we are, of course, interested in, lower than you would think. I guess just because everyone's holed up in these trailers minding their own business. Property crime is a little bit under the national average, actually, which I would expect it to be skyrocketing, but I guess there's nothing to steal from anyone else at this point. It's all gone. Violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and, of course, assault, the Mount Rushmore of crime, is slightly below the national average as well.
Is that right?
Absolutely. So I don't know what's going on out there.
They're working 3 jobs to pay for their fucking rent, James. They don't have time to hurt anybody.
Either that or they're on meth just staring out their windows with their fucking, see their hands on next to their eyes going, who's out there? Who's coming? And they don't have time.
The sun.
Don't have time to commit crime. Yeah, that's true. They're trying to stay out of the sun out there. It's, blaring.
Running from bush to bush.
You don't understand. There's no trees in this town. It's a treeless town. It's crazy. You can't imagine. When we say this, people are going to think, oh, this is harsh. You don't know. It's not.
No.
This is everyone in Phoenix. Everyone's nodding their heads going, yes, absolutely.
The shade there starts hip high. It's just brush.
It's just brush. That said, let us talk about a murder. All right, let's do this. And if we have time at the end, I have an extra murder for you at the end that I want to tell you about. It's an old-timey 1935 Phoenix murder, and it's fucking hilarious.
Great.
I need to get into that. But hopefully we'll have time. If not, we'll see how long this goes. But let's go back to 1995. Mm-hmm. We were both in Arizona, and I didn't live in Arizona in 1995, but
Wittmann was much more sparse than it is today.
Oh yeah, absolutely, definitely, because where you lived didn't exist in 1995. I don't think that was desert out there. So 95. This was when I would go for the summer to see my mom out there, which is that's when you want to go to Arizona. Really, you want to spend July and August in Phoenix.
Why don't you go ahead and skip the best times in New York, James, and go to Phoenix?
Go to Phoenix, yeah.
For the worst times.
Yay! Sit in my house for 2 months. So June 26th, 1995. I would have just gotten off a plane, ready for a whole summer. So we got to talk about a man here. 32 years old he is. David Wayne Reynolds, first of all. Okay. He's a plumber, and he does not believe in banks. These are a couple things that we know about him. He has a couple of children, and his wife apparently his wife is deaf, and his wife this week is getting a surgery that is going to make her able to hear again, possibly.
Oh,
so I guess so. Yeah, it's possible she's going to be able to hear. So he's having a good week. Very excited guy. He stops at a gas station, Jimmy. Mm-hmm. It's at 163rd Avenue in Grand.
I know exactly where it is.
You know exactly where we're talking about. It's
just west of the 303.
And you got to think about 1995 out there, too. Way less built up. This is just, there's trailers out there, is essentially. It's farms and trailers is what exists
out there. If that, mostly just dirt roads.
Yeah, you're right, actually. 95.
Just
Phoenix was different.
Wide open land dotted with trailers.
Yeah. It didn't really blow up, I guess, till that 2000s housing boom.
Yeah, around 99, 2000,
early
somewhere
2000s.
Around there, yeah.
Okay, so he's out there, and as one does at a gas station, he finds a woman and starts chatting her up.
Yeah.
As you do when you're a married man with children and long day of plumbing.
From time to time, you just got to chat them up.
Stop at a gas station in the middle of nowhere, and you see a fine young lady, and you go, "Hey, what's your name, sweetheart? How you doing?" Which we don't. No, normal people don't do that usually. No. But David Wayne Reynolds, though, he's doing that, and he's talking to Rebecca Rohrs, Rohrs. If you want to spell it there. She's 32 years old, Rebecca. So same age. So, at least he's not chatting up a 14-year-old or something. That's good. So they start talking, and Rohrs tells Reynolds that she's at the gas station because she's looking for a job. And Reynolds says, well, I know a lot of people that can hire people. So what do you do? Maybe I can help you out. And she gives him a copy of her resume that she had brought to the gas station.
Prepared.
That's what I mean. First of all, if you walk into a gas station looking for a job and you have a resume, you're hired. They don't even interview you.
I mean, what are we talking about?
They go, "What's your social security number for the for the paperwork?" They don't even
fill out this W-4 or whatever the fuck it's called.
I've worked at gas stations. Yeah. I never had a resume. I knew a guy, and I'd go in there, and they'd go, "You have arms, you can work here," and then they'd put me behind the register, and that was that.
They go, "Will you not steal from me?
Yeah.
You're hired."
No, they just go, there's cameras all over that register, right? And you go, "Yep," and then that's it. That's the game. But she brought a resume there, which is impressive.
She's getting that job.
Yes, I have worked at gas stations. We fall in a weird mid-range because like comedians are
shit job workers.
Well, obviously we were dumb and we didn't go to college or we didn't have like good educations or like a plan or trade school or any of that shit or a skill or really anything marketable that could make us valuable in the world of, survival and making money. Yeah. So comedians before us, like the guys we grew up liking, you know what I mean? That, 15, 20 years older than us group.
Right.
Like all of those guys, most of them, and ladies too, they started out, they weren't like rich. They were either poor or middle class. And they came up like Jerry Seinfeld told stories about when he first started in New York City. He had an apartment and he would work. He'd wait tables at the lunch shift of a restaurant and then do comedy at night. And he'd make like $10 for a night of doing like 8 sets of comedy or whatever. And then, he'd make some tips during the day. And that was enough for him to get by.
Yeah.
Like that, that doesn't exist anymore.
No.
You can't go, and even like the 80s thing or 90s thing, you can't go to LA and wait tables and have an apartment and try to make it in showbiz on the side. That doesn't exist.
Not a thing.
You either have to be on OnlyFans or more likely all the comics that you see now that are like, that came up after, like that are younger than us, they're all rich kids. All those are fucking rich kids because they said, I can move to L.A., not have like a real job, have time to do the comedy, and survive making no money in comedy for 10 fucking years before you have to be a rich, you know what I mean? And when you talk to them, they are too.
Yeah.
Like, that was never us. If it wasn't for this, we would be in a bad place. We'll put it that way.
Stuck in a bad marriage. Because they can't afford to leave it.
That's what I mean. Bad marriage, bad jobs, all that shit. So anyway, Roars gives Reynolds a copy of her resume. Says, maybe you can help me. And they exchange phone numbers. He also gives her his beeper number in case there's I don't know, she really has an addendum to that resume she needs to throw in there. Oh, by the way, I worked at the Gap from 89 to 90. So make sure you put that in there. So at some point in the conversation, this seems like a pretty, hey, how's it going? I don't know. I'm all right. How are you? Yeah.
Run-of-the-mill casual-ass conversation, yeah.
It takes a less casual turn at some point when Reynolds says, if you're really looking for a job, I got a job you might want to do.
Oh, gross.
And he offers to pay her for a blowjob.
Why do we always do that?
It goes from she has a resume. Like she's not out there like, I don't know, I'm just really need money. Like she has a resume. Like she's obviously looking for a job where she does something legitimate for a taxable income. And he's like, I'll pay you to fuck your face. Like what?
How about some under the table? Know what I'm saying?
You give me something under the table, I'll give you something right back. It's all under the table.
Yeah.
So she says, no, thank you. I'm okay. I brought a resume, so I'm really like looking for a job. I'm going to go home now. But thanks for the offer, and I have your info, and you have mine in case something comes up.
In case I need gas money.
Something non-sexual I'm looking for. Yeah, that's one of the job requirements, really. Did I mention that? That was not a sex job here. Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely, these people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News & World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, Believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. Yeah. But why don't you focus also, you look at like green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well. Right. And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about a healthy, delicious item, Hero Bread. And we're both trying to get healthier this new year. Jimmie had a eye-opening doctor's appointment and things like that. So we're trying to get healthier, and I'm telling you right now, this Hero Bread is a good step in this direction. It's delicious, and it is really good for you, and it's really excellent. They have the sliced bread is good, the bagels, the tortillas. I know you've been
they're terrific.
Ranting about the tortillas. They're so good. With Hero Bread, you can focus on your health goals and still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience you love, but guilt-free. I really love the little Hawaiian rolls, too.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so good. The Hawaiian rolls, they're legit. They're fluffy. Yeah. They're exactly how you want them to be. You'd never know it's low-carb and high-fiber bread from the texture. You get the soft, fluffy experience you know and love with your savory breakfast sandwich, late-night grilled cheese, Taco Tuesday. Do it. Yeah. No compromises, just flavor, ultra-low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, high in fiber. It's fantastic. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use the code SmallTownMurder at checkout. That's SmallTownMurder at HERO.co.
And now back to the show.
So she arrives home, and at home is her boyfriend. And he's a guy named Michael Joe Murdaugh. Murdaugh. Yeah. Which just makes me think of Murtaugh, which just makes me want to call him Roger. So it's really fucking difficult.
That lawyer in South Carolina was Murdoch.
Murdoch.
Which with a CH.
With a C. Murdoch. Murdoch.
But his last name's spelled with a GH. And his name's supposedly Murdoch? No, it's not.
Well, this guy might be Murdoch too then.
It may be Murdoch.
We don't know. It could be Murdoch. Either way, the first letters of his word are M-U-R. First letters of his last name are M-U-R-D. So something crazy is going to happen with the whole thing. You just know that's going down.
It could be Murda. We don't know.
Actually, the first 5 letters are Murda. So...
in a town with a population 666, this shit's about to go off the rails.
What up, Michael Joe Murda? 666, bitches. What's up? Whitman, represent. So, Michael Joe Murda, we're calling him Murda now. That's his name. Michael Joe Murda, which it might be. Maybe the UGH is silent. That's also a possibility. Know. It's Murda. Michael Murda. Mike Murda. He's 41 years old. It's a little older than Rebecca, but they live together in this apartment in Wittmann, which, that's going to be beautiful. Or not an apartment. They have a house, as we'll talk about. Okay. Now, she gets home, and she's like, I just went to the gas station to apply there, and I've been around. Dude fucking offered me money to blow him while I was there. Isn't that crazy? Like, I was giving him my resume, and he's like, what's up with that? So Murda gets upset about it.
Sure.
He goes, who the fuck did this? He goes, who the fuck, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you have his number? all right, let's teach this motherfucker a lesson, he says. Boy. He goes, all right, here's what I need you to do. He goes, listen, Rebecca, contact him. Fucking, you have his pager number. Page him. If he wants you to blow him, he's obviously in you. So page his ass and tell him to come over to the house. Invite him over like you're like, hey, you don't have to pay for it, but we can hang out, right? We'll party. So she does something here. She pages him. He calls back like immediately. And she invites him and she says, come over and party with us. Me and my friend Betty, a woman named Betty Gross. We're both over here. Why don't you come party? Yeah. So if you're trolling for, paid blowjobs in a rural gas station parking lot, if some chick calls you and says, me and my friend want to party, you are going to be in your car before, you're not even that page. The phone's dangling off a fucking hook somewhere by the cord. Sure and he's in the car with a dust cloud behind him as he peeled out. So he's going there, and the mentality of this, too, like, she wouldn't let me pay her for a blowjob, but now her and her friend want to fuck me for free and party.
But who knows? In a desperate guy's mind, you see in public a little risky. But she got home, she got comfortable, she called a friend, told her friend's like, yo, that's hot, let's both blow him. So then they page me, I'm on my way.
Dude, I get it. But do you see how pathetic the horny man's mind is? Like, the hornier we are, the less logic. You know what I'm saying? Like we
can create a situation that doesn't fucking exist in the hopes that it fucking exists.
Yeah, exactly. she
and
could
we'll go out of our way hoping that it exists, and we'll stick around, still hoping until the sun goes down and somebody says, "We're tired, we're going to bed." Oh, that situation doesn't exist.
I guess it's not. Well, maybe they want me to go to bed with them. You never know. But she could have been.
That's when you throw it out there. Should I come with you?
Rebecca could have invited this guy over and said, hey, I need you to fix my septic tank. Seriously, you got to get like elbow deep in my old fetid shit. Can you do that for me? And he'd be like, she's going to fuck me while I'm there, I bet. She's got to say that so it doesn't look like a come on, but it's her and her friend. I'm getting a threesome.
She did say, come over and get elbow deep in my shit pipe. You know what that means.
I think you know what that means. I think Paul Calhoun from Crime and Sports done told us what that means. So, but that's our minds. That's how it is. It's like we might be able to, even though I'm being used for labor and I'm going to be covered in feces, I think two women are going to want to fuck me. That's how we think.
Psychotic.
It's diabolical.
It's diabolical.
Every guy out there knows we're fucking serious. Yeah. They know exactly it's true.
And they can think of a time that they did it too.
Every guy. Think of a situation where you had no chance of getting laid, but you convinced yourself in your mind that it was possible some corner of the universe, and you wished upon a star in that corner of that universe, and you tried to do it, and you did some terrible thing, some bad manual labor or some awful shit. You helped somebody move, or you I don't know, paid for someone's kid for 3 years, whatever the hell it is.
And then you stuck around till 1 a.m. and then you drove home thinking about how you got to be up in 4 hours to go to work, and then crying on your way home, not necessarily tears, but certainly pouting, saying, I can't believe I did it again.
I did it again. And then you'll be there that night as well.
Betcha.
With food. I brought dinner.
I brought a pizza.
We've all done it, I'm telling you. So she says, come on by. And when he returns the call, by the way, Mike Murda is standing nearby, kind of like coaching her, like, tell him, come over. Yeah, tell him your friend's here. Yeah, Betty, you're going to fuck him. Yeah. One's going to be on his face. You know how to do it. Okay, you say it.
You guys will kiss.
You guys are going to kiss while you know what I mean? It's going to be good. It's going to be good. So, you're going to make like that's right. Yeah, tell him about that part. Yeah, tell him about your friend's got piercings. Tell him he might be into that.
He can use Betty as a periscope to see inside your tonsils.
That's right. Yeah, tell him. I'm telling you, he's going to be into that sort of thing. So enter Jesse Dezarn.
Yeah.
Dezarn, which his name, if you take out 2 letters, is Darn. So you know what this guy's, he's fucked too. He's doomed to some dumb shit that he's going to do because he's got Darn in his name. So he's 36, Jesse Dezarn. And so after this call, Rebecca sets up the date with Reynolds. Come on by. We're going to party. So Murda and his friend, because his friend Jesse's there as well. Dezarn is seeing this all play out.
Mm-hmm. There's no Betty.
There is a Betty, actually.
Is she there too?
She'll come into this. She'll enter.
Okay.
Betty is not a made-up person, which it sounds like she just made up a Betty, but there's actually going to be a friend there, which I don't know why.
Just like watching the Flintstones. Say it's Betty. Say
Betty. Betty. I mean,
Betty Rumble. No,
Betty
don't say
White.
that.
No, fuck, Jesus Christ, not White, not Rubble. What the fuck? What other? So,
Betty Boop. Say Boop. Fuck it.
Just say Betty Boop. He sounds dumb. He tried to get a woman to blow him with a resume at a gas station. He's not the brightest bulb, probably. So they instruct. Okay, here we go. Jesse and Mike Murda and Jesse here. They go, all right, so you got it all set up. Cool. We'll be back in a minute. We're gonna go get some meth. Yeah. First of all. Yeah, well, I mean,
boy.
You have whatever. I get that there's things that come up in your life, but you need to get meth in between them. Obviously, this is Wittmann, Arizona, Jimmy. What are we talking about?
So they're going to teach a lesson to a man while they're meth fueled?
Possibly. Now, Wittmann now, there are people that are moving to Wittmann now who this whole description does not fit them. They they got a job in Phoenix or something, and they need to be in driving distance of Phoenix, and that's the closest place they can afford. That's a different thing.
There's a goddamn Google out west now, and there are people coming from Silicon Valley.
They're going to be seriously disappointed. So
showing up here from Mountain View, and they're like, what the fuck is this?
In 1995, the only reason to be in Wittmann was to do meth out of view of polite society. That was the only reason to do it.
You're a criminal,
No one cares what you do out there. Just do it. So they leave to get meth, and they tell Rebecca that, and by the way, Betty shows up at this point, Betty Gross, her friend, and they say, as soon as Reynolds gets here, page me. They all have pagers, which is fucking hilarious. It's very 1995.
Sure is.
Page me when he gets here. And also, he says, make sure this Reynolds doesn't leave before we get back, because we're going to be all methed up, and it's going to be perfect. So it's going to be a perfect time to, teach him a lesson here and play a trick on him. So anyway, there you go. So 15 minutes after Reynolds gets there, and he's like, hey, how's it going, ladies? Like,
here's the party.
He thinks he walked into a gift. He walks into a house with two chicks just as advertised. And he's like, damn,
guess what?
Awesome.
Brought my penis.
Got that. He's starting to, 15 minutes into it, you're like, I'm getting sex soon.
Yeah.
The only question is, am I getting some like a booze or some like a food or something like that before I'm going to be elbow deep? Instead, 15 minutes into it, when he's just starting to get relaxed, Murda and Dezarn bust into the house brandishing firearms.
With guns. Oh,
they
Jesus.
Just blaze through the front door, guns out. What's up, motherfucker? And they start immediately. They don't come in and like, because if you were a stranger, you might think it was like a robbery, a home invasion or something, but they go right to him. They leave the girls alone, point guns at him, and Murda starts shouting, demanding to know what makes you think you can treat Rebecca, quote, like a whore.
Oh, my God.
Meanwhile, he made Rebecca page this guy to invite him over to have a threesome with her fucking friend. But don't treat my skank like a whore. That's what he just said. Like, in his brain, that's what he was thinking. Only I can treat her like a whore. No one else can.
Unbelievable.
If I want to sell her ass, that's my prerogative, but no one else gonna do it.
Yeah, but in my situation, she's a fake whore, and that makes me a gentleman.
That means I'm actually a nice guy. Get it? Huh. It's called Wittmann Desert Meth Logic. Don't you understand nothing? Jesus, got to explain everything to these fucking people. God damn, no, I was talking to them. I got to explain everything to these dumb motherfuckers. They don't get shit.
Fake whoring is chivalry.
That's chivalry. Fake pimping, actually. Now, she was fake whoring. I was fake pimping.
Right.
That's how it works.
I was fake making her whore, which makes me a fake pimp, which makes that chivalry.
That's actually, honestly, it's harkens back to a different time, a gentler time, kinder time when people were nicer to each other in general, I feel like. So they're continuing to wave firearms around and all this shit. They yell at him, and they keep yelling at him. Now, Gross and Roars, the two ladies, Betty and Rebecca, Betty and Becky decide they are going to leave the house here. They leave the house. They don't leave the house because they're horrified by what's going on.
Right.
They leave the house because Reynolds drove there in his plumbing van, and they're going to loot the plumbing van for anything of, that you could sell for meth.
Copper out of it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that cop tools. He's probably got a ton of tools. Tools are, oh boy, crackheads love stealing tools because they sell quick. I mean,
especially if they're good and heavy. Plumbing tools are super heavy.
A working person who needs tools, they don't give a fuck where they came from. They need tools, and it's at a price that they need to get.
Are expensive.
Absolutely, and they sell quick. You can go up to a goddamn. If you're a crackhead, you can go up to a construction site with tools and sell them in 2 seconds. People will fucking buy them for cash money. So they're going through looting his truck, the two ladies, while Reynolds remains in the house with the two men who continue to yell at him about his unchivalrous actions while pointing a gun in his face. So, you uncivilized bastard. I had to get all methed up to do this. So, at this point, Mike Murda orders Reynolds to empty his pockets onto the coffee table. Fucking turn him inside out, motherfucker. So, he empties his pockets onto the coffee table, and he's got somewhere between $180 and $200 in cash. That's because he doesn't believe in banks, so he keeps kind of his roll on him at all times there. So at some point during this, Mike Murda picks the money up and puts it in his pocket. Sometime in the proceedings that are about to happen here. So during all this, Mike Murda, he comes out onto the porch, and this is while the two ladies, Betty and Becky, are unloading shit out of the plumbing van, and they're just, they got it all like laid out
indiscriminately
on the side,
just throwing it around,
pulling it all out. Mike Murda's like, you dumb bitches, he yells at them, tells them tells them neither one of you are wearing fucking gloves. God damn it, you're not wearing you gotta wear gloves.
What have you touched, you fingerprint laying dumb bitches?
But you know what I won't call you? A whore, because I'm a gentleman.
I'm a sweetheart.
So he's angry at him. Meanwhile, he's pimped his girlfriend and screamed dumb bitches across the fucking dirty.
Across the front dirt.
Nice guy, this Mike Murda is. So he's yelling at them for not wearing gloves. He told them, you left fingerprints everywhere. Right. Jesus, am I the only one who's good at crime in this entire fucking household?
Then yes.
Then he says, and the quote is, quote, do you know what I'm going to have to do now? Which is frightening from a methed up guy who's done what he's done so far. This is,
oh boy.
My answer would be no.
Tell me. Don't show me. Tell me.
I don't think I want to know, but no, I don't know what you have to do now. So then he says, God damn it. And he tells Betty and Becky, wipe all the shit clean, wipe all the equipment that you've taken out clean, and put it all back in the van.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so there's that. Put it all back in the van. Everything you did, wipe it all down, back in the fucking van, which I don't know why he's putting it back in the van. Yeah. So now, if you're Reynolds, you're hearing this from inside the house, you got to be like, holy shit.
What's he got to do?
What's he got to do? And by the way, this is late June. It's fucking hot out.
Oh, it's so hot.
It's hot at night then. Yeah. Out there, though, back then, out there, it would cool down in the desert at night.
Probably to 85 or 90, but not much lower than that. In June?
I think lower than that, because way out there in the desert, now we have that, there's that heat island now, but it wasn't like that in 90. There was a huge buffer of desert between Wittmann and the city back then, so it probably cooled down a little, but it's still hot, it's dusty.
It's still so awful.
Every breeze, by the way, puts on your mouth, you get in your teeth and on your lips always feel like there's a coating of something on them.
There's no outdoor picnicking. You will chew dust.
Oh yeah, you're like, I like how you I like how you sanded the hors d'oeuvres. They're very nice.
Yeah, thank you for sanding my sandwich. I didn't realize that was the part that was the sand.
It's a sandwich. Yeah, I made you a ham and sand. It's very good. You're going to enjoy it. Kids, bologna and sand for you. I know y'all love bologna.
Would you like a ham sand? Oh, that sounds great. No bread. I just dropped it in the yard.
I dropped it right down, face down. I like tuna sand salad. That's my favorite one when we go out. So anyway, he hears all this. Now, while they are, while they're doing this shit in the van,
Right.
Mike Murda asks Rebecca, do me a favor, would you? Bring me a baseball bat. Okay, so this isn't great here. So roars Becky brings Becky. Let's be casual here. We need to be informal with Becky. Becky brings in the bat to the house, and Mike Murda asks her, hey, Becky, want to take a swing at Reynolds' head with that?
God.
Any good at baseball? Take a cut?
For the violation of saying, I would love to kindly pay you whatever money for a blowjob.
I mean, that's not good. Like, it's not nice. If I was, like, in a store and I came out and someone was propositioning my girlfriend to pay her for a blowjob, we'd probably be fighting, I would assume, at that point. But if she came home after the fact, I wouldn't be like, invite him over. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to tee off on his fucking weave in my living room?
This is extreme, I think.
This is
here.
Crazy.
So Becky says, no, I don't want to. I don't want to beat him with a baseball bat. And she's like, I got a torn shoulder thing. It's going to hurt.
You got a separated shoulder.
No, she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to take part in that. So Murda then asks Betty, Betts, any interest with you? We can take a swing, take a cut here. She says, I'm good. Thank you.
Injury. I'm out.
I came for like meth and a little party, but I didn't come to beat people with a baseball bat. So at about 11:30 p.m., this is hours have gone by. There's 2.5 hours. Reynolds is just sitting there. They take turns like holding him at bay with a gun, and they're like fucking with him and talking shit to him and all this shit. So at about 11:30, Becky, Mike Murda, Jesse DeZarn, and Betty Gross, they're like, let's eat dinner. So they eat dinner.
Yeah.
They just eat a dinner there with Reynolds sitting there off to the side. Like they don't give him any dinner.
No.
I think give him a dinner at that. Right?
May as well.
If you're going to eat in front of him.
Really, I think the guy's learned his lesson, too. You took $200 off him.
I'm going to say he's learned his lesson.
Scared the living shit out of him, for sure. I don't think he's going to ask anybody for blowjobs.
He's going to watch who he propositions for blowjobs. Yeah. It's like Night Shift where they beat that guy like half to death in the alley, and he's like, watch out. Next time, watch out whose car you sit on. Like, it's one of those. It is. Yeah. They get it. He gets it. I don't think
he'll never put his ass on the hood again.
Ever. This is never, ever. So they all eat dinner. Mm-hmm. Once they do, when they're eating dinner, after they're done eating dinner, Mike Murda takes Reynolds and leads him into his detached garage. They have a detached 3-bay garage. Okay. Leads him into that. Now, Jesse DeZarn still has a gun, and he's walking behind Reynolds, like, go forward, mister. Doing one of those. Yeah. Once they get inside the garage, Mike Murda says, okay, Reynolds, this is what you're going to do. Get in the trunk of my Buick.
Oh, boy.
Okay, there's a Buick in the garage. Yeah. Get in the trunk. I need you to get in there so I can, quote, figure things out.
You want me to take a time out in there?
So this is some meth behavior. I don't know what to do. My mind is racing and swirling. I can't look at you because this is putting more pressure on me. You get in there, and then you're away, and now I can just probably deal with the voices in my head about this whole fucking thing.
Right.
This is so you're frightened if you're Reynolds, I would imagine, these fucking crackheads. So he's going to figure things out. Now, throughout this whole procedure, Mike Murda, DeZarn, Betty and Bex here, all of them, they keep coming in and out of the garage to do more meth. And by the way, they're shooting meth. They're not.
Wow.
This is
dead serious meth.
Yeah, this isn't let's go fucking snort a line or even smoking it off some tinfoil. This is like serious.
Yeah, serious. Yeah.
We are jamming this right into our veins. Hardcore meth action here. So they keep doing that, meth throughout the night. So the early morning hours come around.
Oh, God, he's been in the trunk for 4 hours.
He's still in the trunk. Mind you, give you 20 for a blowjob. That's his, like I said, shitty thing to do. Not, this is all overkill.
This ain't it, yeah.
So the early morning this day, Jesse and Murda, they agree that we need to get rid of this van. Okay, because this van is sitting in his driveway. If anyone's looking for him, this van's a pretty good indicator of where he is. So until we figure out what we're doing, we need to get rid of this van and get it off our property. So they do that. They decide to ditch it near the Wittmann cemetery. That's the plan. Ditch it by the Wittmann Cemetery. Murda, he leads the way in his van or in his truck, and Desarn follows in the plumbing van. So they abandon the van on Cemetery Road, and they start to drive back to the house. Now, on the way, they stop for gas in Wittmann. Obviously, so probably got a guzzler. I'm thinking not. This isn't the Buick. This is another vehicle. So while at the gas station, they run into a friend of theirs named Ron Jesse. So there's two guys named Jesse in this thing, one with a first name, one with a last name. Yeah. They say to Jesse, "Hey, we're looking for some meth. What's up with that?" And Jesse's like, "No problem. We'll fucking meth it up here. Let's go back to the house. It's going to be awesome.
Let's go make a meth.
Let's go make a meth. Yeah, let's do it." So from there, Desarn and Jesse, so Jesse and Jesse went to get more meth with money that this is the money that so there you go. Now, after they get back, the Jessies get back with meth. They and Roger Murda lock themselves in the garage. No one can get in, so they can shoot up. So they're going to hog all this meth. No, don't let Betts and Becks in on this, right? So while they're in the garage, Murda tells the Jesse that he from the gas station here. He says, "Oh man, this fucking asshole asked my girlfriend if she would blow him for fucking money, and so I had her page him," and tells him the whole goddamn story, right? And this guy's like, "Holy shit!" He goes, "Well, what happened?" And he goes, "He's right here in the trunk of this Buick."
Like, you did what?
And the guy's like, "Holy shit, are you fucking kidding me? You still have this guy?" And he's in the goddamn truck. And then, like, you hear banging on the thing. He's like, "Oh, my God." So he's like, "This is fucking crazy, man. Wow, this is fucked up." So, it's like Reservoir Dogs now. This is very Reservoir Dogs with meth. That's what was missing from Reservoir Dogs was meth when they were all in there. Imagine how much that would have taken the stakes up if they were all methed out. Like Tim Roth is laying there, even him with a hole in his stomach.
Ripped.
Michael Madsen methed up his shit.
Yeah. Harvey Keitel already sounds like he's on meth.
I mean, put him on meth and you would have gotten a lot. That would have been amazing.
It's a good shot.
You're not going to shoot him. You're not going to shoot him. You're not going to shoot this young man. Ah! He'd be freaking out.
Just chewing on his molars.
Oh, Jesus.
Scratching, picking. Oh, boy.
Fucking Chris Penn can't fucking act. God damn it. He's just angry. So at about 8:30 a.m. here, so this is all night this has been going on, Mike Murda opens the door to the garage and allows Betts and Becks, who are still awake, to join them. They've had their fun in here now. Let's go. We're going to shoot. Then they all shoot up. There we go. Hey, let's all have a party. They're all mething out here. So, that's a party. That's what you do when you're having fun with your friends. You're mething out. Yeah. Hey, it's fun. So they open the trunk at this point to show their friend that they've brought over here, the guy with the meth. I swear to God, here he is in the trunk.
There he is.
See, here's the guy. Reynolds at this point says, "I need to go to the bathroom. I've been in the trunk all night. This is crazy. I need to go to the bathroom." So Murda's like, "Fuck, what do we do now? Do we let him out to go to the bathroom?" I guess we let him out to go to the bathroom. Yeah. I don't know. We don't really want to have pee everywhere, I guess. So
yeah, that's a good answer.
They let him out of the truck. Or let the trunk, and they lead him to the corner of the garage in the back, but not outside the garage, which I don't understand.
Still inside the garage?
So you might as well. I don't understand what the deal is. You might as well pee in the trunk. He pees in the garage, which is that's how much meth they're on. They're like, no, don't let anybody see us outside. You know what I mean?
Do it right there.
Do it right here in the garage.
Fine.
So he takes him to the garage, and this is at gunpoint too. Take him to the corner of the garage. So this guy, they're like, piss into that corner. So he starts pissing into the corner. While he's doing that, Mike Murda grabs nearby. There is a large nylon meat tenderizer nearby.
A nylon one?
Yeah, like a plastic. I've seen them. The ones that aren't metal or wood. They're like a.
They're really hard plastic.
Yes, they're like like a kitchen tool hard, but they're fucking vicious. It's
dense as fuck.
Oh my God, yeah. It's hugely dense. It's like
weighted. They're
like
heavy.
It's like a transmission. That's what it feels like. You could just... So, anyway, this guy, Reynolds, is pissing into the corner. Mike Murda takes the nylon meat tenderizer and whales Reynolds in the head with it.
Oh, my God.
So, obviously, Reynolds crumbles to the floor here, probably with a crushed skull, I would imagine. You probably don't need to do much more than bash someone real hard with a big meat tenderizer.
Pretty well, that's enough.
Murda, though, looks at the situation and he goes, this meat tenderizer, I don't think it's good enough. I think I need to put it down and find something better to do this with. So he puts it down, looks around the garage, picks up a metal jackhammer spike.
What? Oh, boy.
Yeah.
The bit that goes in the end.
Yes, a jackhammer. You see a guy on the road working. Heavy. The piece on the end that pierces through the concrete.
Right.
Picks up one of those. Huge, heavy metal spike, basically. And basically takes it and hits Reynolds as much as he can in the face and head with this thing while he's on the ground.
God.
Already unconscious and possibly deceased from being bashed over the head with a meat tenderizer. He continues to do this. Repeatedly. It's not 5-6 times. It's a lot. Like, he's on he just shot up meth like 8 times all night. Right. He's in a garage. He's all paranoid and all this shit. He's bashing him. At some point during this, he stops and he's like, man, and there's all sort of, getting particles all over.
Blood everywhere, yeah.
Blood, brain, pieces of him. So he says, shit, I got to fix this. So what he does is he gets a nylon, nylon bag, a green nylon bag that he has, I guess for like yard clippings type, one of those type of things, and puts it over Reynolds' head and ties it. And he's like, there we go. And then he continues to beat him with the spike after that. That's better. Now if anything comes out, I got it all.
Yeah, all
contained. All in there. Yeah, it's like mixing a salad with the lid on. You know what I mean? It's
like when you flatten a chicken breast.
Exactly. Well, when you're shaking baking something, that's what it is. I'm shaking baking a pork chop here. I just put it in the bag. Boom. That's what he's doing. Yeah. So he continues to do this. There's major crushing blows to the skull. Caved in his skull, obviously resulting in his death here. So after this, after he's done, Murda just leaves him lying there, leaves Reynolds lying face down in the garage with the bag tied over his head.
Boy, oh boy.
Leaves him there, walks back to the group. Yeah. Everybody's in the garage. Everybody witnessed this. I mean, this is a crazy thing to see. No one knew this was going to happen like that. Right. So he then tells the girls, hey, Bex, do me a favor. Get some horse manure.
Yeah.
Okay, some horse manure. We've never heard that. We've heard a lot of dismounts as far as after murders go and like, oh, this is how I'm going to cover it. We've never heard anybody start with, get the horse manure. Right. He said, take this horse manure and sprinkle it over his body and on the blood surrounding the body. Like it's sawdust with puke. You know what I mean?
Like a cat litter in a garage.
Yeah, like a kid puked in the fucking cafeteria in the 4th grade and they came in with sawdust. That's what this is. So they apparently do that. They sprinkle shit atop of him and all over the blood and everything. Right. I don't know why he thinks shit is going to soak it up, but okay.
It's mostly grass.
I suppose. So they leave him there for the rest of the day. They just leave him there in the corner.
Jesus.
Just, all right, I got things to do. I mean, at some point, end of the day, it has to come. You know what I mean?
Top 5 scum, right? That's a scummy murder.
Well, if you think about it all in its totality, it really is, because you think about Wittmann, number one.
Yeah.
Let's invite him over here. This is really going out of your way.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if what his intentions were is the other thing, because I don't know if he knew what his intentions were, because his intentions were fueled by intravenous meth use. So it's right. It's very hard to say,
And the amount of weapons have changed so many times already.
Yeah. He's like, well, this is easier to use. I'll put this bag on his head. None of it's logical is the other thing. It's all very scattershot. So it's really scummy, though, if you consider, and especially he has no shame. He did this in front of 4 other people, including his girlfriend,
Right, for the egregious violation of pitching a business proposition to a woman that wasn't in that business.
Yeah, that's true. That would be like if someone offered you to play point guard for the Cavaliers. You'd be like, I'm not really a ball player. Not a ball player. Yeah, someone should murder. But no, this was obviously an insulting thing. You shouldn't proposition women in gas stations, obviously.
Right.
But you also shouldn't murder people for doing that at the same time. So, Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you all sorts of good stuff about Chime. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many extra fees you have to pay in life. Everything. You go to the airline, there's an extra ticket on that. There's extra fee on every fees and fees, hotels, fees, all this type of stuff. We're trying to make progress, and the next thing you know, here comes another fee coming at you, and it's more money than you expected, and your whole math is thrown off, and it's awful. Learn more at chime.com/smalltownmurder. Chime is great with that stuff. I mean, you can't beat if your things are a little tight, especially around the holidays or after the holidays. Yeah. You need that money a couple days early, or you go grocery shopping. You got a car payment due. There's so many things that don't cross over exactly how you want them to cross over. Make progress toward a better financial future with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/smalltownmurder. That's chime.com/smalltownmurder. Feels like progress. Banking services and debit cards provided by Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A., members FDIC. Spot me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in Spot Me and are subject to monthly limits. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. You know, the most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch up here or a total makeover. Yeah. Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing. No. They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro-laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently. Wherever your problem areas are, tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's SONOBELLO.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
At some point here, during all of this, Jesse attempts to leave the house. The Jesse that they met at the gas station, not Desarn.
Mr. Jesse, not Jesse Desarn.
Right. Jesse wants to leave the house. He's like, I'm going to get the fuck out of here. He was getting gas. He didn't have... This wasn't part of his plans. He was getting gas, saw his friend. The guy was like, got any meth? He's like, let's party.
Right.
I got money. Can you get meth? Cool. And then next thing you know, this night has unfolded.
He had a quarter of a tank and facilitated meth use, and now has seen a murder.
Seen terrible things.
Yeah.
So he tries to go, but he can't get off the property because the gate is locked.
Oh, God, Jesus.
So he's trapped in there. Yeah. So he is like, he has to wait for Mike Murda to unlock the gate. Murda approaches Jesse while he's waiting for the gate to be unlocked and threatens him. And I'm talking, this is like a Mike Tyson level threat. This is crazy.
I'm going to fuck your face.
I'm sure this Jesse guy would welcome that compared to what he says he's going to do.
I'm going to barbecue your children.
It's close, but worse.
All right.
He says, if you tell anybody what happened out there, I'm going to gather your whole family up. I'm going to kill you last and make you watch me, quote, peel the skin off your children.
Holy fuck.
So he threatens to skin his children alive in front of him if he says anything, which is that's a threat.
I believe him.
After what I've just seen, I think this guy's capable of. I don't know if he's capable of organizing everybody into one room like that, but if he gets us all in there, I think he's capable of anything. Yeah. So after he threatens him, Jesse says, "Oh, absolutely, I don't want my children to be skinned alive, so sure, I won't say anything, no problem." So that's when Mike opens up the gate and says, "All right, you can go then. Keep in mind, remember, skin your children," as he's waving, bye, and then he honks, beep, beep, and they wave. So it's very, very friendly. So at the time, at all of this, through all of this, Murda at this point, Mike Murda, realizes that he and Jesse, you know what, in our rage and our meth haze, Plum forgot that we left a bunch of shit in that van that's going to show that it's Reynolds' van, right? Yeah. Now, they don't really realize about like things like VIN numbers and stuff, and eventually they'll figure out whose van it is, but they're like, he's got like stuff in there. We should take all the stuff and make sure they don't know what van this is, which, like I said, this is meth logic. This is not good logic here at all. So Mike Murda then tells Jesse DeZarn and Rebecca Roars to go get all the shit from the van. Okay, go get everything. So DeZarn comes back with a couple of pagers, a wallet, identification papers, all sorts of shit like that. Glove compartment stuff, registration. And he brings it back to the house with old Becky. Okay, so later on in that night, keep in mind, Reynolds is still dead in the corner with a nylon bag over his head and a bunch of horse shit sprinkled over him. So that's what's going on there. So at some point, Mike and Jesse DeZarn load Reynolds' body into the front right compartment of Mike Murda's horse trailer.
Okay.
They load him into that.
The guy's got a horse trailer and jackhammer bits, and
he's got so
much shit, and a 3-car detached. He's killing it out there.
Well, back then you could get that in Wittmann for nothing. That would be $80,000 for a house, 5 acres, and a shit. He seems like the type of guy in my mind, and I'm not sure if exactly when it happened, but he seems like the type of guy who was like had his own construction business and was doing well, and then got really into meth, and now he doesn't have a business anymore, but he still has all the tools and the house that he had when he had it all. And
it's certainly gonna fall apart if he doesn't murder this guy anyway. I think
it's not going well.
No.
He's been up for. Have you heard the word sleep mentioned once in here? By the way, we're talking. This is like 36 hours into the story. We've got
not even a nap.
Not a nap. We didn't hear that. And then when it started, it wasn't like everyone just woke up and then this happened. They've all been up. It started at night. They were up for a long time. So it's crazy. So anyway, they load him into the front right compartment of a horse trailer. And I just thought of something. If you're like from another country where there's not a lot of horses, I don't know. If United States Western horse trailer.
Yeah.
Picture a trailer, you trail behind your car, you drag it. It's got a big compartment for the horse, like a stall, basically. And in front of the horse stall are like places, I guess, where you'd keep like, horse stuff.
And it depends, too, because sometimes the stalls come all the way up to the front, so the horse's head is right there, but you've got like storage right underneath that.
Underneath him, yeah.
And there's a divider in the middle, so you can put 2 fucking horses up there. And make them claustrophobic. Just fold them in there.
Driven like on the highway out west, driving from like Phoenix to LA or something, you've seen many of these horse trailers. So you study them, and
cute horse faces popping out those bars.
Yeah, the horse ass sticking out the end there.
Yeah.
So there's compartments for stuff there, and this is where they stuff the corpse of Mr. Reynolds here is into the front right compartment of the horse trailer. So then Mike tells Becky to clean up the blood and the shit in the garage.
Yeah.
She's getting ordered around to do a lot of stuff, by the way.
Sure is.
Like, it was all the things he's asked her to do tonight are way less offensive than asking to pay for a blowjob.
At least she's getting cash.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but even me, I would rather give a blowjob than do any of the things I've been told to do tonight. As
long as it's for money.
especially if it's for money.
Right.
God,
as long as it's for cash.
I'm not cheap. I'm not a floozy. I'm just saying. But if you're going to pay me,
all the rest of this is just like the reward is I get to fuck that guy who just made me do all this shit.
Yeah, and hopefully he won't go to prison now. Like that's
right.
So anyway, tells her clean up all the shit in the garage. I'm going camping.
Okay.
Hasn't slept in days, Jimmie. Going camping. Yeah. Wow, this is one of the wildest fucking tales of anything here. So he's going camping. So he leaves with his horses in the horse trailer. He's got his dog. He loads up like a full deal and pulls. So that means he's got a truck big enough to pull all this too. Yeah, right. He's got a lot of cool stuff, basically.
He's got horses, James. He's got a lot of money to take care of those.
I figured if he had the horse shit, he must have had horses, unless he just
unless you shovel it from a friend.
Yeah. My friend let me borrow some. You know how it is. I said, "Can I get a couple of cups of poop?" Luckily, he had it.
Can I get 2 tablespoons of poop from you?
He needed flour last week, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. So he does all this, and it's after midnight. He pulls off to drive. That's when I leave to go camping, after midnight, by the way, as well.
Yeah. Depends on how long it takes to load up.
Yeah, when I haven't slept in at least 40 hours. That's when I go. So he goes to his campsite. It's way out in Yavapai County, about a half hour outside of Prescott. So it's it's out there. That's, out in the pine forest area.
I'll bet you it's up Yarnell Hill. I know exactly where he went. I guarantee it. He went up to 60 right up Yarnell Hill.
There you go. Jimmie's got his murder fucking getaway, his murder dismount all planned out. I'm going to go up to 60 right up to Yarnell Hill. That's all I'm doing. If anyone around Jimmie, by the way, law enforcement or anybody, if anyone around Jimmie goes missing, don't look right up the 60 off Yarnell Hill, because that's not where he put him. I'm on your side, Jimmie. I'm not telling them to come get you, obviously.
I got my murder whereabouts going right now. That's all.
Unless I'm missing and I was last seen with him, then look off the 60 by Yarnell Hill. So that's where I might be. So he gets to the campsite. Mm-hmm. And he's like, okay, here we go. Got my dog here. Yeah. Nothing better than camping out in the wilderness with your dog and your horse. Yeah. It makes you feel like you're in the Old West, sitting by a fire with a horse standing nearby. That's every damn movie I ever saw. Feels so good.
Sitting there cooking beans in the can on the fire, listening
Absolutely. That's it. Going, that's right. This is the life right here.
That's my boy.
You know how many stars are in the sky right now for him?
Oh, God. It's a blanket of them.
That's one thing about Arizona. If you go far out into the middle of nowhere, the stars are amazing. It's like
incredible.
It's like they're right there. It's really wild. It's crazy. So, like nothing I've seen before. I'm sure there's nicer places, but as far as I've seen at night, it's as good as it gets.
It's also bizarre because Phoenix and those surrounding valley area is so fucking flat. Then you get up into those mountains and you feel like you're closer to the stars anyway.
Yeah, you do.
And
anyway,
then at night, then they come out, and then you're like, I'm way up here. I could reach out and fucking grab it.
But maybe that's it, because you're 7,000 feet in elevation when you get to Flagstaff and around that area. So he is sitting there. He's got all these things, his beans, everything. All is right with the world, except there's one thing different than normally when you do this and you'd be relaxed. He's got a corpse still he has to deal with that he brought with him, which is a strange, it's a strange guest for the camping, So he's got this corpse, and he doesn't know what to do with it. So he's got to figure it out. So what do you do with it while you camp? I mean, you're camping.
What do you do?
Well, if you catch a fish, you got it, right?
Yeah.
If you shoot an elk, what do you do with it?
You field dress it and
you got to field dress it. So what he decides to do, he said, I am going to dismember this guy right here at my campsite. It's a nice night. I got the stars to work with.
It's a real beauty.
So first thing, got to cut off his head, because I always wanted to do that probably. And I just said in the beginning, we don't make jokes about if someone's cutting somebody's head off. But this particular asshole, I feel like in him, he was like, I don't know. Well, I think I'll do it this way. Beep, beep, beep.
He has to take it apart for no reason.
Like meth people do. Right. Whether it's the engine of an 87 Honda Civic or a guy from the gas station that you've murdered with a jackhammer spike, you need to take him apart to see what's inside.
Or a projection TV.
Yeah. Last week, Mike probably tried to wrench his own head off to see what was inside of it and how it worked. So he does this. He said he needed to do this so he couldn't identify him. No one could identify him. So he cuts off his head first. Then he cuts off also his hands, and there he goes. So he's like, okay, I got my hands, I got my head. Here we are. Got everything I need. Then he says, wait a second, though, the hands, if someone finds the hands, they're going to be able to identify him. So I cut the hands off, but, and this was his thought, too. He's like, this is, in my mind, his thought anyway. I can't be positive, but I feel like he's like, so I cut his hands off, but now his hands are just like the rest of his body. So if I didn't care about his hands being found, I should have just left him with the rest of the body, because the hands got the same amount of chance of getting found as the rest of the body. Like, I think that's what he was thinking. So he said, all right, here's what I'll do. And he slices all the finger pads off the fingers, like all the where your fingerprints are. Right. He slices all that off. Oh my God. Chops off those pieces of the finger, and he's like, okay, did that. Shit, you know what else I got to do? These fucking teeth in the head. Yeah, I cut the head off, but if they find the head, they're going to find the teeth. They're going to figure them out that way. Do have some pliers in the truck, though.
Oh, my God.
So he takes this head that he's cut off, and he has to, because, they're anchored in there pretty good.
Yeah,
so
you got to hold it like a Heisman.
Exactly. He's got to clutch it in his arms there, like he's got him in a headlock, but it's only his head. And yanks out all of his teeth with a plier.
Dear Lord.
One by fucking one. Each one. Yanks them all out, and he gathers up the finger pads and the teeth and hangs on to them, puts them in his pocket for later. Okay? He's got to get rid of those. So he then drives away along the Forest Service Road, where he's going to try to find a spot to bury this guy. Right. But after that, too, he also slices, I believe, he slices him in half as well. So make it for easier storage, okay? Yeah. So, at the waist, not down the middle. Yeah, not down the middle, because that would have been way more difficult. You never know. Yeah. People might think about it. You never know. So as he's driving, he throws the teeth and the finger pads out like one by one on the, out into the side of the road as he's going. Yeah. So no one will find those, I guess, and drives along the road out there. Now, he takes the head and the hands in one shallow grave, or did he? I don't think he cut him down the middle. I'm sorry. He keeps head and hands and then he's got body separately. Okay. He digs two shallow graves that are nearby each other. This makes no sense. This is meth logic. Yeah. Digs a shallow grave, buries the head and the hands together in one place, then buries the rest of the body close nearby in another shallow grave. So,
meanwhile, he's covered in blood.
Oh, he's got to be covered in blood. I mean, the guy wasn't bleeding anymore, so the blood would have... He's still got blood on him. Yeah. Either way, there's blood in there. So he does all of this. Now, at that point, he's got everything in the shallow grave. He drives back to his campsite to enjoy the night with some beans and some horses and some dogs.
Yeah.
And then he says, well, while I'm here, I have all of his stuff. I might as well make some phone calls on Reynolds' cell phone.
Oh, okay.
He's got a cell phone in 95 because he's a plumber. So it's whatever.
Big fat ones.
Oh, it's a decent sized one. So he starts making phone calls from the campsite. He calls his girlfriend. He calls Bex. Hey, Bex, how's it going?
Evening.
Yeah, just, I'm out here. This is beautiful. If you're ever going to kill someone, take off the finger pads. That's all I'm going to tell you now. That's my advice for the day. No, it's pretty out here. So he does all of that. He calls her at home. He calls her pager just to make sure to spread him around. So you really have a lot of evidence he's trying to get a hold of her. He then, Reynolds had made several calls to his company and his girlfriend and all of that on his phone. That's on his records later on. And he had also called Roars 5 times, Becky. So everybody's calling Becky from the phone. So Reynolds' family, because he has like a wife and children, report him missing because he doesn't come home for 2 fucking days, which isn't normal for a plumber. So the police obtain copies of his cell phone records, which is, he starts calling this particular number and then goes missing. It's not a difficult trail to close up.
Home. What the fuck?
I don't think that people in 95 even thought of like cell phones. They didn't think of like records or.
They thought they were just like burners. Like
it's this amazing.
Thought that's what it was.
Yeah, it's like a walkie-talkie almost. They thought of it
it's
as
not attached to anything. It can't make a digital footprint anywhere.
No, just like in the ether of whatever. Right. So I mean, I didn't know. I didn't have a phone in 95. I didn't know shit about them. If you told me that's how they worked, I'd be like, cool.
I think I got mine in 99. Yeah, my senior year. It was that Nokia with the faceplate that changed. I think it was awesome.
Oh, baby, the change in faceplate. That's a good one. So they look for a while. They find the van.
Yeah.
Because it's on the cemetery road. It's not hard to find. It's in a place where people go. So June 28th, 1995, police officers contact Becky. And they go, hey, Bex, how's it going? Just a bunch of calls from this number to your phone, and this guy's missing. So, you seen him? Anything?
Yeah.
Anything? She tells them that she had his business card, Reynolds' business card, because she had met him and gave him a resume of hers, and so that's how she met him, and we exchanged information. And they asked her if she was willing to come to the sheriff's office to identify Reynolds, like look at a photograph and say, is this the guy you talked to? So she said, yeah, of course I will. Jesus, he's missing? That's terrible. I'm not a monster, of course. I'll be there. Yeah. And then she never shows up, obviously. No problem. See you fucking some other time. See you never. In her defense, she might have intended to go. People who use a lot of meth, shoot meth, they tend to not be that reliable with appointments and things like that, I would assume.
More in her defense, James, she witnessed a murder. She may not be the most reliable person right now.
She's undergone trauma recently.
She's certainly under duress.
I would say, yeah, there's some PTSD involved here. So that's damn well possible. Just because she does meth and participated in this doesn't mean that she's like down with cold-blooded murder.
Right.
Mike Murda seemed like the only guy enthusiastically doing this. The Jesse guys.
Yeah,
everyone else is going along.
Mr. Jesse, the meth dealer, is certainly not a murderer. He was fast.
It was basically like, we have money. Can you get some meth? And he was like, fuck yeah. And they were like, you hook it up and we'll party. And he's like, shit, yeah. Like, he had no idea. The Jesse Desarn guy, I think he's just like, oh, my buddy Mike Murder here. I'm going to back him up. Like, I don't think he thought, oh, we're going to fucking like.
We're really going to do it?
We're going to beat him with a spike and then dismember him? That's crazy. So the next day, the police, looking into the cell phone records further, they discovered that that they're looking at the cell phone records now in like real time. Mm-hmm. If any call, they tell the company, if any calls are made, let us know.
Yeah.
So we can do that. So that next day on the 28th, Reynolds' cell phone's being used.
Yeah.
Who's it being used to call? Becky Roars again.
Oh, no.
So they're like, Jesus Christ, this is fucking crazy. Oh, in the van, by the way, they found Reynolds' work boots, and that's when they discovered they couldn't find his cell phone or his pagers or anything and all of that. So, and they said, the cell phone company said the most recent calls are originating from the Flagstaff area. Okay. So up north of, exactly where he would be. So that same day, known at the time, a resident of Wittmann, Arizona, told them that he knows that a murder took place in a guy named Mike Murda's garage behind his house. So this all happened. This guy provided information that the police then used to contact someone named Jody Sheeler.
Yeah.
So talk to Jody Sheeler. Jody Sheeler really knows what's up here. So Jody Sheeler then leads the police to, this is the problem, if you tell one person, they tell other people.
Yeah.
This is why murders are, Jesus fucking Christ, people. How many murders have we had? Not like we want people to get away with murder, but Jesus Christ, have some pride in what you do. Whether it's, I'm serious, whether you're cutting a lawn or you're fucking writing a symphony or you're jacking yourself up on meth and murdering some guy for no reason. Have some pride in your craftsmanship. This is fucking ridiculous here. Instead, you kill him in front of a bunch of people. Now all people know this Jody Sheeler told the cops some information, enough information that the cops knew to go interview Ron Jesse, our gas station meth hookup.
Meth dealer, right.
So, or at least a hookup for one, a middleman. Mm-hmm. Ron Jesse, they sit him down. he's got no stake in this game other than, holy shit. They go, hey, we heard A, B, and C. And Ron goes, oh, yeah, I saw the whole fucking thing. They had this guy in there, and this dude was in a trunk. It was fucking crazy. I didn't know anything about it. They got him out. Dude took a piss. He got a fucking spike. He started hitting him with it, and shit was great. I mean, he's got stories. He's like, this was crazy. Yeah. I tried to leave, and dude told me he was going to peel the skin off my children and make me watch, and now I'm fucking He is singing. He's more scared of Mike Murda than he is of any consequences of seeing this whole thing. So the cops are like, wow, that's a pretty good interview, I guess. That's decent.
That'll help.
That helps, but also this guy's a crackhead, so they have to measure it with that. But still, they're on the right path, they know. So, meanwhile, Mike, when he had called Becky Roars, she told him that the police were tracking the calls he's making with the cell phone. Hey, stupid.
Yeah,
they're
stop calling me.
Yeah, they know the calls. That's why they talk to me. That's how they knew to fucking talk to me. So he went, shit, Jesus Christ. So he left the campsite and calls her from a payphone instead. Okay. Yeah. Let's go call from a payphone. She told him she got contacted by the cops, but she never told him anything because she didn't show up for her interview at all. She just ignored them. So he says, okay, and they can track cell phones. I didn't know that. So he breaks the cell phone into a million pieces and gets rid of it. Okay. That's what he does here. He also takes all the wallet, Reynolds' wallet, and his papers and all of that, and takes it and buries it near the body as well. Goes back to the campsite. Because he's not going to let this fuck up his weekend. He's had a hard week, and I'm gonna get
my R&R in.
He needs to decompress. That's the thing. He's going to go fishing later. He's got a lot to do this weekend. So he's sitting back up there with his horses, and he's cleaning one of the horse's hooves. Yeah. Here, I guess with a knife. That's how you clean a horse's hoof.
Getting all the shit out of the shoe, I guess. Yeah.
I guess. I don't know how you do it. I'm not going to say that's not how you do it. I'm sure one of our listeners will tell us how you clean a horse's hoof.
I imagine there's a tool, but they can probably do it with a knife.
I assume. Yeah. So as he's doing that, the knife slipped, and he stabbed himself in the leg. Cutting himself real fucking bad. Like, I think he nicked an artery in there.
He's squirting.
He can't stop the bleeding. Tourniquet, he's gushing everywhere. He's starting to get lightheaded. Yeah. So he jumps back in his truck and he drives to the Yavapai Regional Medical Center for treatment because he's got to. He's got no choice.
Yeah.
And the knife is filthy because he's been cleaning shit out of a horse's hoof with it, and he stabbed himself.
It's going to go septic in a minute.
2 fucking seconds here. So on June 30th, 1995, this is the next day. They don't know where he is, but they obtain a search warrant for Mike Murda's home and his garage. During the scene of the garage, they find the girls didn't clean up the blood or the shit. They've just been doing meth for 2 days. So cops walk in and they go, well, there's a body-shaped giant, pool of blood with horse shit in it for some reason. I don't know why that's all there. Very fucking weird. So the sheriff's department now at this point sends out a notice notifying all the other law enforcement agencies that they're looking for this fucking guy. And the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office calls the investigators and says that he's in the emergency room. He's over here. So they said
gangrene in his thigh.
Yeah, he stabbed himself with a shit knife. I don't think it's good. Bad results happening. So they ask the investigators, they ask the Yavapai authorities to impound the vehicle right now. Yeah. Fucking go impound that vehicle and, seal off the medical center, make sure he doesn't get out. We're on our way here. We're coming to get his ass. So they arrive at the regional medical center. They first spoke with hospital personnel and were told that he had not been given pain medication because they can't talk to him really if he's on pain medication because that's not a good interview. They don't like to talk to people who are fucked up because it might not hold up what they say. So,
which seems wrong because that shit seems like it would be truth serum. You feel so good. Maybe you just start singing and getting rid of all this stress.
But in court, they can say they knew I was fucked up and I, was talking out of turn. Because even in like the homicide book, there was a guy who was a straight murder suspect. I mean, hardcore murder suspect. And they wanted him to come in for questioning. He came in and they said his fucking eyes were dancing. He was so coked up. And they were like, come back tomorrow when you're less coked up, stupid. We can't talk to you now. And they let him fucking walk out. Wow. So, yeah, it's interesting. So, anyway, they arrived there. He's not on medication. Then they meet with Mike at about 8:55 p.m. I don't know if he slept yet, but I mean, it's been days since this man has slept.
I'll bet he hasn't, because how do you sleep when you've got a knife wound like that? Unless they stop the bleeding and everything seems stable.
They didn't give him any medication, so I don't know. They read him his Miranda warnings. He agrees to answer questions, and they asked him whether his garage. They agreed to ask him. He agrees to answer questions, and he then says, "I'll answer your questions. But let me ask you something." And they're like, "Okay." He goes, "Was my garage cleaned?"
How's my garage look?
And they said, "No, it wasn't cleaned at all, Mike. There was." It was pretty. I don't know. We don't understand the poop, but it's obvious what happened there. And he tells the detective, quote, "Then you have enough to do me in." And he just sits back. Well, then you got it then. And then he tells him exactly what happens.
Wow.
He goes, "Oh, yeah, we had him come over." And I said, "Yeah, bring him over," and hit him with the Spock. And I was shooting up meth. I didn't know what to do. You know what I mean? You know, when you got somebody in a trunk and you're like, fuck, I was just going to rob and kidnap this guy for a minute. You know what I mean? And now I'm like, shit, I want that plumbing equipment. Now he's in my trunk and I got this meth in my vein and I don't know what the fuck to do. You know how it is.
I've been telling myself to go up north with the horses. I need to get them out in the free. They
gotta run
up there.
Jimmy.
They're in season. See, you got to run it out of them.
Got to run it out. There's a lot of energy in them. You know what I mean? I got my friend over now. The problem is too, my girlfriend, she got her friend over. You know what I mean? We ate dinner. We didn't know what else to do with them, and I'm like, I mean, we could play Pictionary, or we could try to dispose of a human being's corpse. One of the two. And we decided on shooting up more meths and killing a guy. That's all.
And you guys don't understand. He said, "Will you blow me for cash?" Get it? I can go home now, right?
I mean, I feel righteous is what I mean. I feel, you know, the more I say it, the more justified I feel in my actions is honestly what it is. I feel vindicated. Thank you. I want to thank y'all officers for coming in here and talking to me, because I was feeling bad about it. Can you imagine that?
Don't worry. I got a John off the street. I did your work for you.
Problem solved, gentlemen. Have a good day. And then he just puts his hands, folds them over his chest neatly, and he closes his eyes to sleep. So he also tells them everything. He draws them a map, detailed map to directions to the campsite where any evidence might be. Also tells them, oh yeah, I got a hole here, I got a hole there. 3 holes. I got a hand hole, I got a wallet hole, I got a fucking torso hole. So there's that. The police are able to locate the campsite and the body as well. They just use tracking dogs. They don't even need his map. It was pretty easy. And he buried him like there was a thin layer of dust and leaves on top of him. Like there wasn't.
He buried the bodies like he buried blood, just simply like just a sprinkle over them. Yeah.
This sounds so methy too. Like I'll do all this crazy killing and stuff, but I can't then organize my thoughts to clean everything and. Like, fucking unbelievable, these scrambled brain thoughts he's got. So they end up finding everything here, like we said. This was July 1st, 1995, so good and hot out there. Yeah. Now, on Saturday, the next day, Jesse DeZarn, he's arrested too, because fucking Mike just told him that he was there.
Yeah.
He is charged with kidnapping, robbery, aggravated assault, and first-degree murder.
Of course.
Old Jesse. Yeah. Now, once they collect the evidence and they have him and they have the Reynolds body and they have him under arrest and everything, they start looking at it a little bit. And there's detectives who, because this is a particularly vicious, kind of crazy case. This is the type of case.
Heavy.
Yeah, this is the type of case, if you're a detective and you know, like, detectives in other counties and stuff, you call your friend up and you're like, Phil, holy shit, dude, check this out. This fucking guy, crazy, and you tell him the story and they'd be like, oh my God, what a fucking crazy world,
What'd you say his name is?
It's exactly. It's one of those things. So word gets around about this and everybody hears about it. And then the detectives, based on some files they've read, they go, this looks real familiar of an earlier case in 1995, this year, as a matter of fact.
Holy shit.
They bring Mike in and they go, Mike, let me ask you something. Not for nothing, but have you ever done anything like this before? Just, we never thought to ask you, honestly, because this seemed like such a spur-of-the-moment event that we were like, this seems like a one-off, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Sure, why not? We were so happy to figure this one out. We didn't even notice. So just anything you might have remembered. And he goes, oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Matter of fact, it was about, 2 weeks before this, 2.5 weeks before this, on June 8th, 1995, which is literally fucking 2 weeks earlier. There was a guy, my old roommate, Doug Eggert. You know him, Douglas Allen Eggert, who was 26. He's from Buckeye. He was a mechanic. He lived in Buckeye. Apparently, he was born in Tucson. There, he's got a couple of kids and all sorts of shit like that. He said, absolutely. He goes, that guy was our roommate, and I beat him to death with a meat tenderizer and threw him in a canal. So, yeah, I have done something like that, as a matter of fact. They're like, oh, we appreciate your honesty and frankness.
Matter of fact, yeah.
Wow, okay. He said, I was living with my girlfriend, not Becky, another girlfriend.
In the last 2 weeks, he's gotten a new girlfriend?
Yeah, through May. It's you know how it goes. When you're doing meth, times are fast and loose, Jimmy.
Listen, it's so hot out there. Any relationship is volatile and can end at any minute.
If it's that hot and you live in the middle of the desert, anything could end a relationship.
Oh, for sure.
One little thing and you're like, you know what? I'm fucking done. I'm done. You're like, what? That had nothing to do with our relationship. I don't care. It's so hot.
If you have the fan pointing at you and she clicks it to oscillating and that fan comes off you, that's grounds for a fight right there.
That you can leave that. And that's not, and anyone would understand. People would be like, oh, God, Jesus, yeah,
I'll bet you there's
person.
A divorce court judge that has heard, she clicked oscillating, Your Honor. And he's like, understood.
Yeah. Or she doesn't mind sleeping with it up at 79. I can't deal with that, man. I can't deal with it. I can't.
She says it's cold at 76, Your Honor.
Your Honor, man, it's ridiculous. Now, objectively, 68 is room temperature. Understand, Your Honor? So 76, we're talking 8 degrees above room temperature. Even if she's cold, it's not a reasonable coldness, right? That's the legal precedent. So they're...
Socks, right, Your Honor? Socks and a robe. That's the solution, right?
Your Honor has decreed a heated blanket to be the solution, and I'm going to agree with him.
That's a crime of passion, right?
Right. Let her borrow one of my hoodies. No, because then she's gonna mess it up. Then no, ain't happening. I know she likes a big old hoodie. It don't matter,
Your Honor.
It's justifiable. And in Wittmann in the summer, people might go, we're considering it. It's hot. It's that hot. Air conditioning murders will happen. So Jesus Christ, he says, yeah, we all live together. I beat him to death. He says that what happened is I suspected that Eggert stole something from me. That's what happened.
Didn't know for sure.
I don't know for sure, but you know how you get suspicions.
Oh, boy.
And people who shoot meth, usually their suspicions are well-founded. They're never paranoid.
All day.
So he says, so I thought he was stealing from me, so rather than confront him, I plotted to murder him. He said, at first the thing was, I figured to make it easy, I gave him some beer with a bunch of Valium in it. Thought maybe he'd pass out, and that shit didn't work. He was just like, this beer's delicious, and... It's a good one. What is this, an IPA? Shit, like 8% alcohol? It's not bad. That didn't work.
He likes vitamin V, and that V is Valium.
Yeah, it's Valium right there. So when that failed, he went to something a little more direct. Okay. That I would call the subtle route to try to drug him and whatever. So that didn't work. So he instead physically forced Eggert into the large toolbox across the bed of his truck.
Oh, my God. And
the tool...
From rail to rail, that toolbox? Holy shit.
He physically forced a fully conscious man into that. That is his solution as far as, I tried the subtle route. I guess I'll try, I don't know, the most over-the-top thing I could possibly do.
Getting my diamond-plated DeWalt.
Oh, shit, dude. Holy shit. And it's hot in there, too, man. In June.
It's steel, for Christ's sake.
To the touch, it's hot. You don't understand. You don't get it. Have you ever touched your car and went, ow? That happens in Phoenix. You go, shit. I touched it. I touched the door.
People did it. Okay. I touched the handle. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry.
Okay. I understand. Yeah. That happens. So this is fucking crazy. The police said that Eggert's body was found after an anonymous tipster, just somebody saw it in the fucking Peoria police, found him in the canal, the Central Arizona Project.
That's the CAP, James. That's one that comes off the bottom of the of Lake Pleasant.
Exactly, that whole thing. That's who they called. Investigators ended up finding the very badly, at that point, decomposed between the water and the heat.
Oh, my God.
I mean, you can imagine what
it did to it.
Do you know
what the CAP is, James? That's our drinking water.
Yeah, well.
For the city.
I'm sure he's not the first corpse to be in that fucking
Probably
water,
not.
if I'm being honest with you here. It's in that city. So,
wow.
Badly decomposed corpse found in the canal 6 miles north of Lake Pleasant and Joe Max roads. So,
oh my.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you're saying. So.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Oh
Just
my
God. Grab a pole, Jimmy.
Oh my God.
Picture whistling. I can't whistle when I'm smiling. You can't whistle while you laugh, and we're laughing. But imagine whistling the Andy Griffith theme with a pole over your shoulder, and I caught me a corpse. And that's what's going on.
It's right here.
It's very close. He said, they said that the body may have been in the water for more than 2 weeks in the heat and could have floated down 15 to 20 miles down the canal. So at any point in there, that's when they found him. They had no idea because he was found badly decomposed, possibly far away from the point where he was killed.
Right.
So they had no clue, which he was. He was killed up there and he floated down to that area. This is fucking crazy. So Reynolds here, poor Reynolds, his mother, Dolores, she said that, quote, that her son was, quote, just too trusting. Just too trusting. Yeah, it's way too trusting to think that a woman will change her mind to that degree. Right. That's probably too trusting. She said, all I know is that my son is gone. I don't know why they would do this to him. I hope they stay in jail forever. That's what she said. The owner of the plumbing company, it was Sunland Plumbing he worked for. And the owner of the company said he's worked there since May, Reynolds, and he didn't believe in banks. And the owner said, I think he was approached because of his roll of money. And that's possible, too. She could have said he took out a roll of money and he had money on him. So, I mean, he actually offered to pay me money. Which is totally possible. The boss here said that Reynolds was a dependable worker who, quote, never complained.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you're not complaining about plumbing in the summer in Phoenix, that's a dependable guy. Her son here, Dolores said her son lived in Circle City and adored his children. He had a 13-year-old daughter and an 11-year-old son at that point, which is fucking horrible. Jesus, poor kids, man. Poor kids. That's awful. Yeah. Oh, can you imagine? That's how your dad got found.
The exact ages of my children.
That's what I mean. In that exact area, it's gross. She also said he'd been looking forward to this week when his wife, Jennifer, would undergo surgery that would help her hear for the first time in her life.
Wow.
So maybe shouldn't have been offering women blowjobs at the gas station, but that, like I said, that's between him and his wife and maybe the law, as far as a misdemeanor goes, but certainly not a death penalty worthy offense, I would say, at all. They even set up the plumbing company, opened a bank account to help funeral costs for the family and all that. They tried to help out. So July 1995, the grand jury indicts Mike Murda for the following crimes: first-degree murder, felony murder in the alternative, count 2, kidnapping, count 3, aggravated robbery, and finally aggravated assault of Ron Jesse for
threatening to fucking skin his kids. Yeah,
while he kept him physically caged. That's the other thing. He wouldn't let him out. So that's where that is. They also indict him for kidnapping of Douglas Eggert, the first man he killed there, and first-degree murder of him as well. Rebecca Roars is also arrested. They got to arrest Becky. Yeah. She lured him there, for Christ's sake, whether she knew about it or not. She's on suspicion of aggravated assault and kidnapping, not on murder charges. They believe that she didn't know that a murder was forthcoming. Because, like I said, I don't know if Mike knew a murder was forthcoming. So I'm pretty sure she didn't, but she definitely helped here. So
she heard teach him a lesson. She didn't hear murder a fucking guy.
Yeah, she didn't hear, we'll put him in the trunk, shoot up meth, and then bash his head in with a fucking spike. So DeZarn is also arrested, aggravated assault. We told you all of his. Now, Mike wants to plead guilty. That's his first instinct. Plead guilty, but they don't know if he's competent to plead guilty. And this is when we get some really, it's about to turn pretty crazy here. So, not that it has, I just said it's about to turn pretty crazy.
About to go crazy?
What have we just heard for an hour and a half? This is, It's been insanity, but it's going to go crazy as far as this goes. So in 97, he's incarcerated, and he informed jail staff that he's depressed and suicidal and has a sleep disorder. No medications prescribed at that time, but subsequently he is diagnosed with anxiety disorder, as I would think anyone awaiting death penalty eligible murder charges would fucking be. That sounds like anybody in jail, and prescribed anti-anxiety medication, and indicated that he spoke, that they had spoken to Mike's ex-wife, who said that this isn't the first time he's gone off the deep end a little bit mentally. She said that for the last year prior to him being locked up, when he was out from 94 to 95, he'd been constantly making comments about the CIA.
Oh, boy.
And how they're looking at him, and people are tracking him, and there's the CIA and all this shit. So when someone mentions the CIA and that they care about them personally, that means they're a crazy person, is what that means. Because
they aren't doing that. They aren't targeting your fucking private citizens.
No,
at this
unless
point.
you're like Edward Snowden or something.
Right.
You're not. No,
not some
if you're a plumber,
Wittmann.
if you're a construction worker in Wittmann, I don't think the CIA is very interested in your meth use.
Give a fuck what you're doing.
So the trial court orders a competency screening to see if he's fucking crazy. And one evaluation, he says he's continuing to experience paranoid beliefs and delusions secondary to his past methamphetamine use. This doctor says all of this is just residual meth dust. That's it.
Okay.
It's residual meth resin that's stuck in his brain, and he's fucked up his receptors so much with meth, literally, that it doesn't even work right anymore.
He's got the inside of a General Electric light bulb smoked dust in his lungs, and it's in his brain.
If you shake his head, it goes tick, 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 like a broken light bulb. Yeah, exactly. So they sit him down with a psychiatrist, and Jesus, there's so much in this episode that you go, I can't make this up.
Yeah.
The doctor's name?
Yeah.
Dr. Jack Potts. I shit you not. Dr. Jack Potts. Jackpots. That is amazing.
Does he say that after his diagnosis?
I think when he's done examining you, he says jackpot, and he high fives you and he leaves.
I'm going to prescribe you Valium and Xanax. Jackpot.
Jackpot. Pow. I'm out. Jackpot. Out. Peace. And he's like, yeah. He struts out. He's very like fucking 2000.
Potts.
Yeah, I'm cool.
If your last name is Potts, never name your kid Jack. Never. No. Jesus, fuck. What are you doing?
And this isn't like it was, the 1800s and that wasn't a thing yet.
Right.
This man was born in like the fucking 50s. What are we talking about?
Gold rush is long gone.
Yeah, long gone. So he says that Mike was, quote, fully alert and oriented to his name, his location, and the general reason for our interview. Well, that's a start. Helpful. That's good. That's helpful. He knows who he is, where he is, and why we're talking. He says that his thought process was goal-oriented and intact throughout. He says that there was, quote, absolutely no evidence that he was suffering from perceptual disturbances such as auditory or visual. I almost said visitory. Auditory and visitory. Yeah. I had to stop myself twice from saying visitory, and I'm like, that's not a word, dumb fuck.
I do it a lot.
God damn it. Visual hallucinations during the time of the evaluation. He denied having any, quote, special powers, because that'll come up. Wait a second. Wait for it. His memory was, quote, grossly intact for both recent and remote events, and his cognitive abilities appeared to be consistent with that of the general population, if not slightly above average. So his IQ is like 106, which is right in the dead average area, leaning toward, because like 110 is in the above, so it's getting toward above average. So he's not dumb at all. That's not a thing. They said that his abilities to abstract and conceptualize appeared to be grossly intact. So I would say a lot of things about him are grossly intact. So the doctor noted that, this is a quote from his report, he does have some beliefs that may be considered fringe.
Some?
Fringe, okay?
Yeah.
Let's talk about, what do you consider a fringe belief?
Probably something along the lines of Area 51 or 54, 57, whatever 51. It is.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like one of those, one of the safe conspiracy theories we did in a bonus episode,
right.
Like that are Bigfoot. Bigfoot.
I just ran through all the 50s of things that I know. Is it Studio 54?
Studio 54, Heinz 57, Area 51.
That was what it was. Heinz 57.
Lawrence Taylor wore number 56. Yeah. I'm all fucked up.
Heinz 57 is what was in my head. I was like,
absolutely.
Is it the area like the Heinz?
I saw you going through them. I saw your Rolodex flipping.
What are the famous numbers in the 50s?
I'm only 3 feet away. I could see it where I could smell smoke coming out of your ears on that one. What number is it?
Area? 54? I don't know.
So that's a fringe. Like I believe Bigfoot's maybe a fringe belief. Yeah. This I would describe it as a little more than fringe. He described having out-of-body experiences.
Oh, yeah.
That's more than fringe.
Yeah.
He claimed to have direct knowledge. He has no way to know this, by the way, but direct knowledge through his out-of-body experiences, not from personal experience, of the Buddhist monk killings in Phoenix as well.
Oh, really?
He's got, his out-of-body.
Oh, that was gross.
That's terrible, yeah. When you float around out of body, obviously you're going to see things that you normally wouldn't see. Sometimes you float by a big murder, you know what I mean? You witness it and you have things to tell the cops.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, I mean, right church, wrong pew. Here I am. Oh, shit. So there's that. I mean, I know about these Buddhist monk killings. These are, like I said, not fringe, I wouldn't say. He also tells Jack Potts that he believed that he was, quote, being monitored through telephone, wiretaps, and surveillance, which you're in jail. You're absolutely being monitored by all those things.
Yeah.
And they'll even look up your butt for stuff if they think that something's in there.
They'll make you squat and cough a lot.
I'm monitored through telephone, wiretaps, surveillance, and my anal cavity. I'm monitored through all them things, man. And they go, yeah, that's prison.
Sounds like you're trapped.
Sounds like you're in jail. I'm monitored through lifting of my nutsack. See, that's what it is. They say lift it up, and then I'm monitored through a coughing process that would expel things from my butthole if it was right on the edge.
Watching that in that Rikers documentary, the humiliation.
It's horrible. It's horrible. It's fucking horrible.
Being videotaped while it's happening. The faces they make are so fucking awesome.
It's fucking crazy. Here's my nuts. It's fucking awful. So
there it is. Do you see it?
I'll see my butthole. Here it is. Now here's his concern. Here's his fringe belief that he's concerned that while he underwent leg surgery, while he was, they locked him up. They had to cut.
What they put in there, James?
Well, since they did that, a location transmitting device has been, while he was under the anesthesia, has been implanted into his skull.
Oh,
not into his leg. They used the leg surgery they just used it as a ruse to implant something into his skull. That's what they really wanted to do.
God.
They're like, we got to fix up his leg. Yeah.
They can put shit in your head without an incision.
Well, I don't know how long I was out for.
Yeah, I could have healed.
That's the other thing. That's the thing. So he keeps repeatedly telling this doctor that he wants a CT scan, or better yet, a skull x-ray. That's what he's really looking for, a skull x-ray to confirm the suspicion, not to make sure it's not true. I want to know it's true, and so I need to confirm my suspicions. The doctor said that when questioned further, he said these concerns and knowledge of surveillance activities, he said, I mean, that's got nothing to do with how I'm going to act in court. Like, I'm going to plead guilty. I mean, I'm not going to go through a whole trial and all that shit. I'm going to plead guilty. But just to let you know, they put things in my head. So I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not as crazy as they think I want to be, if you know what I mean. And he went, huh? So the doctor said that I think he'll probably be found competent. He said his initial impressions was that Mike's belief system does not impact his rationale or factual understanding of the proceedings he's facing, or his ability to effectively assist his attorney, or understanding the waiving of his rights by entering a plea.
Yeah.
Now, most of that's true, but the helping the attorney thing, if your attorney's asking you for specific shit and you're like, I'm not saying a word till they get the tracker out of my skull, that's not helpful.
No.
That's not helpful. But I'm not saying he's crazy. So anyway, they noticed that he'd never had any major mental illness. That's one thing, like that he'd been treated for or anything like that. He explained that Mike has a long history of abusing methamphetamine. That'll make you seem crazy. He said that he might suffer from a paranoid delusional disorder secondary to his past use. There you go. His brain is meth broke. And he recommended that his competency be evaluated further out of concern that Mike's paranoia might impair his judgment and could prompt him to plead guilty, whether or not doing so is in his best interest.
Okay.
He might be on some crazy trip about something, and he might have a theory that pleading guilty will get this thing to happen, and that, then I'll be able to, who knows. Potts is a forensic psychologist, by the way. He noted that Mike held some fringe beliefs, but he said a desire to plead guilty to avoid putting his family and those of the victims through the trial is what he keeps telling him about. Yeah. He says that the doctor concludes that Mike is aware of the charges against him, understands both his constitutional rights and the consequences of a guilty plea. So he says, I'd let him plea if he wants to. So here comes Dr. Lang. He brings on the MMPI test, which is the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory. Oh, that's a bunch of different things here. Scored a 106 on the IQ test, like we said. That's high average. He did diagnose Mike with antisocial personality disorder, which I think based on just his activities of that 24 hours would probably give you that. I don't think you need to even talk to him. He has a history of violent, aggressive, and illegal activities and polysubstance abuse. So he'll do anything he can get his hands on. He's been violent and aggressive, also mainly due to his meth use, and he's done a lot of illegal activities, but he doesn't have like a criminal record. He's never, he doesn't have like 10 domestic violence convictions or any of that shit. So they noted no impairments in his cognitive functioning and said that no evidence he was suffering from delusions at the time she interviewed him. He did mention his belief that the CIA was tracking him, and she concluded that his behavior during the offense, including luring the victim to the residence, was inconsistent with having paranoid delusional disorder. Instead, Mike offered Dr. Lang an explanation for the whole thing, and he said he needed to be taught a lesson for propositioning his girlfriend, period. That's it.
Yeah.
And the doctor explained that that's not consistent with the delusional process. He didn't say like he tried to steal her soul, so I had to kill him. That would have been delusional. He said, this is just kind of garden variety crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but no, I still don't find the trigger for this. Is it just the meth use made him murderous?
Well, he said like this. He told Dr. Lang he initially considered beating Reynolds and then just releasing him. That's what but the whole thing just got carried away. And I think it snowballed because he's shooting meth. So I think, oh no, now he's in the trunk. Now what do? He's in the corner. What if I just hit him with this? And then, oh shit, I already hit him with it, so I better kill him now. Like, you know what I mean? I think it might have snowballed. He said he was able to recall the crime in detail. During the offenses, he displayed logic, decision-making, and planning skills. Secondary on that plan. He stuck him in the trunk, ate dinner, then shot meth up and killed him and was like, I don't know what to do.
It's not a good plan, but it's certainly a plan.
Put poop on him. That'll make him go away.
Sprinkle poop on the blood.
I heard it was magic. So he said his cognitive functioning was fine and all that sort of thing. He said that he even tried his behaviors to dispose of the fingerprints and the teeth were displaying that he had thought and forethought and all that sort of shit. And he noted that he used methamphetamine on the day of the murder, which would have caused feelings of euphoria, power, and energy. It could also have led him to become aggressive and paranoid. All those things are true, I assume here. He also said that he believed the meth may have contributed to his getting carried away while beating Reynolds. Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
Well, once you hit someone with a heavy meat tenderizer, I think you've already gone through the.
Yeah, you've gone past the point of no return. You're already through the. Yeah. You're already through the metal detector. You're in the airport. You can't leave now.
You can't unspill milk. You know what I'm saying? You can't put it all back in the glass. Like, not gonna happen. Yeah. So they appoint another guy, or a couple of them here, Doctors John Sciali and Scott Sindelier. And clinical psychologist is the one and they're going to evaluate his competency. He's so fucking weird. They have to talk to him. Now, the Dr. Sciali said that he talked to Mike, and Mike told him that no matter what happens, Mike said that he's, quote, going to get the death penalty even with a plea deal. Said so it doesn't matter. He says that Mike's motivation for accepting a plea deal was that, quote, death row has a better quality of life than Gen Pop.
That's probably true here. Yeah.
Yeah, and that he wanted to spare others the stress of the trial. He also believed that the outcome would be the same way whether he pled guilty or went to trial. And the doctor said he found nothing illogical about his reasoning. That's all regular folk reasoning here. He said the doctor, when he explained the possible defense and maybe mitigating factors available in a trial, Mike indicated that there was, quote, that he was, quote, not previously aware of those things, but even with that information, he's still going to plead guilty. Uh-huh. Oh, I didn't know I could say I had fucked up shit in my head.
Yeah.
So he looks up all sorts of shit, medical records and everything, and what they find is he has one prior known psychiatric contact, which was an incident in 1978 when he was briefly hospitalized in Indiana while intoxicated with meth. So he's high on meth and got put in a hospital because people didn't know what the fuck was wrong with him.
That's how high he was.
That's how high he was on meth in 1978. He's a fucking pioneer
20 years
of
this shit. Yeah.
A meth pioneer. That's wonderful. See over the hill, kids? That's a meth pioneer. See his grizzled face looking out like a hawk over the over the horizon. Meth pioneer. He this at the same time, they found out that in the late 70s he had a couple of pretty bad concussions as well, and that was before the meth stuff. So they're thinking the concussions might have led to some of this, possibly, which is always possible. Finally, the doctor discussed Mike's desire to obtain an X-ray to identify the tracking device he believed had been implanted in his skull, the possible effect of this desire on his decision to plead guilty. Mike had told the doctor that when he discussed the plea agreement with his lawyer, the lawyer told him that he would get the X-ray if he just signed the agreement.
Yeah.
So the lawyer treated him like he was like a raving person in a park and just said, if you just sign this paper, we'll get your head X-rayed and you can find the tracking device. That's what he's telling this doctor. So the doctor found that the discussion of the issue was done in a logical way, notwithstanding no information from his attorney as to whether the skull X-ray had been discussed when discussing the plea agreement, because that never came up in the plea agreement. It was like, we'll plead guilty if you give him a skull X-ray. The lawyer never said that. He just told him. Now, the doctor found that his beliefs about the implant did not interfere with his ability to enter a guilty plea and concluded that what was more convincing was that he said he would enter the pleas of guilty even if he got an X-ray or not. So either way, he would do it. He said that this sort of reasoning is not typical of a paranoid delusional. So that's what he's saying. He both found him competent to plead guilty and all of that. So now, at this point, he's repeatedly requesting to everybody, even in court, he'll stand up and be like, I'm not saying nothing until my skull gets X-rayed and you find out what's in my brain. Like, shit like that.
Yeah.
So they're all talking about it like, what do we do here? Yeah, with this fucking guy. So the deputy district attorney asked the court, just order the X-ray. Can you, as the judge, just if it'll get us fucking on with this, I know you don't want to do it because of the money. That's the issue. But if we're wasting days in court,
I'll pay.
It's more money. Like, what are we talking about? Let's take him, and there's got to be an X-ray around here somewhere. Hook him up to a fucking copy machine and tell him everything's fine. Who cares? We need to get on with this shit.
Yeah.
So they do it. The deputy district attorney asked for that. He argued that the X-ray would reassure Mike that there's no tracking device and that it would alleviate any potential coercive allegations raised at any future plea agreements or proceedings. Please. The trial court said, fucking fine. X-ray this idiot's head. So they do it. The service was provided to him with a skull X-ray. The prosecutor said it's to reassure him, like I said. The doctors are like, oh, look at that. He's finally getting one. So the scan does not show an implant, but Mike believed the results were doctored.
Fake news!
They showed him the X-ray and he went, these are doctored. And instead requested an MRI.
Okay.
I'd like an MRI to really take a look around in there.
Damn it.
So Dr. Potts concluded that Mike is an intelligent man who's simply expressing a very strong desire based on a clearly false belief, which is a very good way to put whenever anybody that's obviously nuts is asking for shit like delusion. That's the best way to put it. Right. He says that he fully appreciates the necessary waiver of the rights and all that, and this is what he wants. Yeah. He said he's been asking me for that. They gave him an X-ray and a CT scan, and he insisted on an MRI. Yeah. So it's
X-ray
really
and a CT.
Yes.
What's the MRI is the one that does the soft tissue shit, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He thinks it's like in the middle of his brain, apparently. God, either way, if it's made of an outside substance, an X-ray is going to show up. It's going to show up, and a CT scan. But he wants an MRI here because he said the other results have been doctored, and somehow an MRI won't be doctored in his mind.
He's exhausting.
He's very exhausting. So yeah, he's exhausting. The doctor at this point said that Mike's continuing, not the doctor, by the way, to continue to experience paranoid beliefs and delusions secondary to his past meth use at this point. He said even for years after cessation of methamphetamines, he said that his behavior is consistent with these chronic methamphetamine use. He said that he functions relatively well before he became an addict, and likely it was his methamphetamine use that greatly contributed to the alleged offenses that have occurred. You killed the one guy, the roommate, with a meat tenderizer. Right. That's your first murder when you're 41. And then you're killing 2 weeks later. You just decide it's like getting a tattoo. Like you got it, and you were like, "Those are great. I'm getting another one."
It's not a possibility.
He had to have done this before, right? Is it just me?
He's done something very illegal, whether it was murder or not. Who knows? But he's certainly done something really fucking bad.
That's a line to cross, like murder. And I just can't imagine, like out of the blue, he just killed that one roommate. And then was like...
On the offensive, he stole something from us?
Maybe. I think he stole something.
We don't even know.
And then so I killed him. I enjoyed it so much, I'm just looking for people to fucking kill now 2 weeks later. It just doesn't make any sense to me. If 5 years went by, I could buy it, but not 2 weeks. It's so fast.
He snapped.
Like,
kill him now.
Gotta
kill.
Either his brain broke from too much meth, or he's been doing this for a while. And because the Arizona desert out there, it's so vast. You have no idea how many if you went through it, how many bones are out there. It's unreal.
It's so, and out there too on the other side of those mountains, it is just desert,
no man's
for
land
so far till California.
You could bury a battalion and nobody would notice. It's out there.
That's where they used to train for war and shit.
Yeah.
It's just there's nothing
and
there.
No one in Phoenix even noticed. That's how far out there it is. So on January 10, 2000, he pleads guilty to kidnapping, robbery, and first-degree murder of Reynolds. Mm-hmm. On that same day, he pled guilty to the kidnapping, first-degree murder of Eggert as well. Now, in the Eggert case, the state and Mike agree that he'll receive, a fuck off life sentence for the murder of Eggert. Okay, so there's that. Now, the problem is Murdaugh, and he knows this because his lawyers tell him, and it's expressed in court. He knows that his guilty plea constituted the conviction that they can now use to use that as an aggravating factor in the Reynolds case to push for the death penalty.
Yeah.
So so he pleads guilty to all of that, like we said. The sentencing comes around for that, and he said that when sentencing comes around, he requested to his lawyer that he, quote, get my Rolodex from the property seized by detectives from my house. He said that you need to have it to give to Lisa Christensen, who's a litigation specialist, and a more complete and accurate list of people to contact on my behalf. He has names and phone numbers. He says the Rolodex has names and phone numbers of people I know who aren't listed in any directories. And he asked his lawyer to look into hiring a neuropsychologist because another death row inmate had undergone neuropsychological testing to explain his outbursts of sudden violence. Mm-hmm. Okay. So he also asked his lawyer to obtain a, quote, complete list of all states that have an interstate compact with Arizona. His reasoning was, and this is what he said, this is a letter to his lawyer, quote, If we pull this off and I do get natural life, then I want you to request a court order for a DOC transfer out of Arizona. So he wants to be in a different prison outside the state. I do not want to spend 5 to 7 years in SMU or SMU 1 or 2, and this is where I will be sent upon the transfer from here to DOC, because my crimes will give me a 5 out of 5 score going in. That's
he's going
danger.
to Florence.
Yeah, he's going to the hardest fucking place there is, because he's the most dangerous. Jesus. Right. He said, being out of state will also allow my sons to get on with their lives much easier. He also discussed later on, he says that his lawyer was rarely visiting him in jail. It's like he never came to fucking visit me. And then he said, quote, anyway, what I'm getting at here is this. We both knew going in that this was a loser because of witnesses. Yeah, if fucking 4 people watched you do this, it's hard to say it didn't happen.
Right.
Good God. And I know you have done as I've asked in trying to stretch it out as long as possible. I don't want to, please make this as expensive for people as we can and draw it out. I don't want to do anything to tarnish your name or abilities in any way. But if I tell the judge of the sparse visits would somehow help my mitigation, I think we should discuss this face to face. So I'm going to start using you as a mitigating factor, that my lawyer sucked, which isn't a mitigating factor. That would be an appeals factor. He said, it's well known around the courthouse that you don't visit clients in this jail very often. He's been gossiping with the other inmates.
Everybody else says so too.
You got him too? He never visits me either, that punk motherfucker. This was told to me by a deputy who's been there for 35 years. I'm sure you know Cookie, Roy Cook. He's the one who said, you're a good attorney, quote, but have a bad rap when it comes to visits.
Yeah.
Okay? I still want you to keep putting off the sentencing date as long as possible. What you need to do, I like how he puts, he doesn't have time. Doesn't have time to spell it out. He's only in prison forever. What you need to do is set aside some time to come down here and talk to me. Things have changed in my life, and we need to kick Mark Barry's ass on mitigation. Okay? I'm going to have Lisa try to get people to write letters on my behalf to present to the judge as to my character before Becky and meth took over my life. Wow. So please come down here. Maybe we can pull it off. Yeah, this guy fell apart. You can tell.
Meth and pussy ruined me.
That meth and that pussy. I mean, it's good enough. You'll offer to pay for it at a gas station. That's how fine she is. I couldn't help myself. In another letter, he further detailed his desire to serve life in prison out of state. He says, quote, I need info on interstate compacts, so if by some miracle Lisa can get me life, I don't want to do it here. I've had 43 years of this heat, and that's enough for me. It's so fucking hot. And when you read books about Arizona prisons, that's all they complain about is the fucking heat. And in the winter, it's freezing. Yeah. And the scorpions, and aggressive ants and scorpions. And the desert's not a place where you can just stick an installment. And
they don't have like the fucking Orkin man coming through. They'll come through and spray for this shit. It's just there.
Crazy. And people with brown recluse spiders, and they have festering wounds. It's wild. So anyway, I've had 43 years of this heat, and that's enough for me. For once, I agree with this guy.
Yeah.
I want to go to north. I want to go north: Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, Colorado, Nevada. Well, Nevada's just as hot, dude. So maybe rethink that.
He means like up in the Sierra Nevadas.
Yeah, the mountains. Not Oregon or Utah. They're as bad as here, from what I've learned. Anyway, get back to me. I think about every time I get one of these Snoopy the Lawyer tunes. Every time I think of, I get one of these letters, I guess. Snoopy the Lawyer tunes, okay? He addresses the court at one point, and he tells what he thinks. This is what he says to the judge. Quote, in my 6 years with being, for some reason, in Madison Street Jail, I know how everything works.
Okay. 6 years he was in Madison Street?
6 years he's been waiting. This is in 2001. God. I know how everything works. I'm talking about everything. I know how the Roman Empire fell. I can tell you how to make a radio. Like, I can do it all. I know it all. I know how the steps. I know the steps that are followed. I have had several friends that have gone through death penalty cases and gotten the death penalty. Well, imagine being able to say that.
Yeah.
Several of my friends are on death row, and this is what they tell me. And gotten the death penalty, and several who've gone through the death penalty cases and got natural life. I have also known some who've been sent out of state on interstate compact with that request coming from the Department of Corrections. And I recently learned that you do not have the power to send me out of state without the approval of the Department of Corrections. A judge can't just say that. So he's saying that. He says in 2001 that he does not want to present mitigating evidence. Changed his mind. Fuck it, just kill me. It's easier. So he directed the attorney not to provide copies of the mitigation report from this Lisa Christensen and a Dr. Deming who did an evaluation. Don't turn those over to the prosecution. We're not using them. So his lawyer informed the court that Mike believed that his life was in danger in jail and feared that a life sentence would be the equivalent of the death penalty for him because of the difficulties he had with other inmates. He's got a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Mike urged the lawyer to ask the prosecution to allow him to serve his time out of state. He apparently said his cellmate tried to shank him.
Yep.
Which is that's just Madison Street Jail.
That's jail, right.
And especially the highest security one. That's fucking crazy. That's, so his cellmate tried to shank him, and he said Jesse Desarn has told everyone that he's a snitch. So people want to kill him too.
Oh, shit.
He's got a lot of problems right now with these jails. The fucking Phoenix jail is horrible. It's just, between the conditions are just inhumane is not even the word for them. And then
that inhumanity creates people that behave inhumanely.
Yeah, and no one gives a fuck in there either. So that's the other problem. They don't give two shits about it. So they've made this horrible place that's hell on earth, and they're like, people should be fine when they get done in there. Yeah, good move.
Time and be all right.
Good moves, idiots. So aggravating factors is that he's been convicted of another offense for which a life sentence has been, imprisonment has been set up, and that he committed the murder in an especially heinous, cruel, and depraved manner.
I agree.
Which I would say just the torture of what he did to this guy beforehand was fucking brutal, of him not knowing. So they have the mitigating evidence here. And he says not that he refuses to submit any of the mitigating evidence here. The state refuses to recommend he serve his time outside Arizona, so he can't make that deal. Then he changes his mind once that happens. He says, well, if I can't serve it outside of Arizona, then I don't want to put on any mitigation at all. I want the death penalty because I don't want to be in here in Arizona for the rest of my life. So they sit him down in court and they said, did you discuss this with your lawyer? And he said, I have copies of everything and I've read everything. And the judge said, and knowing what that information is, do you desire not to present evidence on your own behalf? And he said, that is my wish. He said, you understand it's a capital case? He said, yes, ma'am. That's it. That's that. So, they let him do it. The problem is the judge allows him now, not the problem, but they allow him to address the court. He makes the following statement regarding his waiver of mitigation and his desire for the death penalty.
Yeah.
And I quote, I wanted the court to know that I have been a supporter of the death penalty for all my life.
All of it.
And I raised my sons with that knowledge as well. In fact, I wish the death penalty were expanded to cover what we don't need what are you doing? Yeah. I don't care. You know what we don't need? Opinions on society from a fucking meth-addled murdering asshole. That's what we don't need. Even if you're right about something, I'm going to consider the opposite side because I don't want to be on the same side as you.
Right.
You're a moron. He said, I wish it was expanded to cover what it's used for in the form of rapists and child molesters. Like I said, valid view. Don't want to hear it from you, though.
Right.
Anyone else is fine, not from you. He said, that is my belief, and I don't think that me being in this situation would change that belief, and it hasn't. And I'm asking the court to go ahead and proceed and give me the death penalty because I do not desire life in prison. My children, my 2 sons, have grieved for 6 years already with me being in here, and my circumstances are where I have been in solitary lockdown for 6 years with very little contact, and I want the grieving to end for my own family. He then discussed the murders. He told the court that the interim between the Eggert and Reynolds murders, in that interim, he and Becky had broken up, and she had stayed with Betty Gross. So that's why it was all these breakups. According to him, during that time, Becky was free to contact the police about the Eggert murder, but didn't. He also explained that he had killed Eggert because Eggert had threatened his stepdaughter and a woman he was dating, and that Becky agreed with his plan to kill Eggert. She was down with it. Yeah, she was down with it. He also said, that's what he says in court anyway, he also says that during the Reynolds kidnapping and murder, all of his co-defendants had the opportunity to release Reynolds when he wasn't around. Yeah, but they're afraid of you. That's the problem. He said, keep him here, or fucking, He also contended that his co-defendants had lied about the details of the Reynolds murder in their testimony. So, yeah. His lawyer explains that other inmates have labeled him a snitch, and that once his cellmate tried to shank him, like I said, and he said, given the troubles in jail, he wanted to plead guilty and get on with getting a death row. And he said he, quote, didn't want his family's name to be dragged through the mud and didn't want the victim's family to be dragged through the mud or relive the death of a family member. He's very noble, is what he is.
A very kind person.
Yeah. He also said he didn't want some mitigation specialist talking to his family and digging into his past. And he was very adamant that no one talked to his mother.
What's in your past, sir?
Don't talk to my mother, whatever you do. She is a huge bitch. I'm telling you. Just don't talk to her. You're going to hate her. No, he said that all that shit. His lawyer described him as very demanding and heavily involved in the proceedings, providing details of the case and asking to review evidence. He said that he called him 3 times a week and sometimes several times a day, and he was able to comprehend and understand everything. So what ends up happening is he doesn't want to present. The lawyer can't present the mitigating because that's not what his client wants. Right. But the prosecution presents mitigating evidence because if they don't, then it will get overturned on appeal. Okay. There has to be an equal. There has to be someone. Yeah. Right. So he says we're going to put it out there. So the defense counsel objected, and the court said they wouldn't release certain materials to the public and all this, but the mitigating factors: impairment from the use of crystal meth at the time of the offense, impairment from chronic drug use, personality disorder, paranoid thoughts, impact of the combination of drug use, personality disorder, and paranoid thoughts on mental abilities. He cooperated with law enforcement, told him where the body was, lack of prior criminal convictions, and a desire to spare his family from the trial. Seems logical here.
Fair enough, yeah.
They called in the Dr. Lang guy, and Dr. Lang said that, all the methamphetamine stuff that we talked about before. So the counsel, all his counsel argues is that the state had not established good enough aggravating factors. They didn't establish that he did it for a robbery. They didn't, even though he robbed him. They didn't establish the aggravating factors. And even they said even the murder, the quick blow to the head, he was probably unconscious. He never even saw it coming. That's not especially cruel. They're trying to ignore the torture of the 12 hours before that.
And the dismemberment and pulling teeth. And
exactly.
All that. That's pretty fucking, that seems aggravating.
Pretty goddamn gross to me. So, they said that they argued that the state had not proved beyond a reasonable doubt that factor, that it was especially heinous or cruel, and all that stuff. And with respect to the statutory mitigating circumstances, they asserted that his methamphetamine use rendered him unable to appreciate the wrongfulness of his conduct or conform his conduct to the requirements of the law, but not so much as to constitute for a defense.
Sure.
He was fucked up, but not that fucked up. You don't want to, you know how it works like that. So they bring in more fucking shrinks. People, one guy, Dr. Deming, did a 12-hour personal interview. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. They talk about now they're getting into his organic brain syndrome, post-concussion syndrome resulting from numerous severe head injuries beginning at age 17. And the report concluded that, included discussions with his family, background, all that kind of shit. So the court found, let's just find what the court found here. They found 8 non-statutory mitigating factors, and they're pretty much all the ones the prosecution laid out, basically. The court determined that these mitigating factors were not sufficiently substantial to outweigh aggravating circumstances and said, you, sir, may fuck off, death penalty for the murder of Reynolds, and 20 years for the kidnapping of Reynolds, and 50 years for the robbery of Reynolds.
Oh, it's 15. Over for you.
15, yeah. So he's done. So on the direct appeal, quickly, First, it said that the delay in the case did not he said it constituted cruel and unusual punishment to hold him for 6 years before the case. Meanwhile, they have evidence of all of his letters asking his lawyer to delay it as much as possible. So that's self-imposed at that point. He could have got it over with a lot quicker. Also, it said that it held reasonable evidence supported the trial court's finding that Murdaugh was competent to plead guilty, and they rejected his argument that his guilty plea was not knowingly made because he was not told he had a Sixth Amendment right to have a jury determine his sentence. Because Arizona the next year passed a law saying you had to have a jury. So finally, the court addresses his claim here that he was improperly sentenced by a judge rather than a jury. So that ended up coming up. Now, it's upheld, though. Everything here is upheld on the direct appeal, which is always with the direct appeals. 2013 comes around.
Yeah.
It's been a goddamn while. Federal appeals court here, they uphold the murder conviction. This is the Ninth Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals. Uphold the murder conviction and vacate the death sentence, though, saying that juries, not judges, must decide whether a defendant's eligible for the death penalty. That's come up a lot. So now the Supreme Court comes into it now. U.S. Supreme Court, not Arizona. Not that clown show, an actual court. The U.S. Supreme Court let stand a lower court's ruling that convicted him and said he should get a new hearing on the death sentence, though, because they appeal, then the prosecution appealed that to the Supreme Court. The court refused to hear the state's argument that the Ninth Circuit Court had stepped, quote, far beyond its authority when it ruled that he should have been sentenced by a jury instead of a judge. He had pleaded guilty. The Arizona Attorney General's office said in an emailed statement that it was disappointed that the Supreme Court did not correct the erroneous interpretation. They wanted the Supreme Court to go, no, you should kill him. That's what they wanted. They don't do that often when they've already had it struck down. When they've had it vacated, they don't usually impose it again. It's not their thing. So they said that, anyway, he is one of 21 capital defendants in Arizona who were sentenced to death by a judge instead of a jury before 2002 when the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that practice was unconstitutional.
Really?
That's why tons of Arizona capital defendants had to be resentenced. Most of them got life because of that. So on review, the Supreme Court determined that 19 of those death row inmates were eligible for resentencing by a jury. Murdaugh and another capital convict were not granted a resentencing. So he was not granted a resentencing at all. The court said that the jury sentencing was harmless in his case because no rational juror could have found leniency and sentenced him to life.
Right.
One of the factors leading to his death sentence was that it was especially heinous, cruel, or depraved. The state has 90 days to seek a new sentencing hearing, and they said they would. They said nothing about the conviction is overturned. Just the death sentence is simply no longer valid. It's now up to the state to choose what they're going to do here. So. Retry him. From what I understand, I have not seen him resentenced to death. So I assume they just took the life and said
and ran with it.
He's got life on the one, and then he's got life plus a bunch of others on this one. He's in there. Fuck him.
Let's just leave him. Yeah.
Who gives a shit? So there he is. Reynolds is in jail. He's in prison now. Or not Reynolds. Reynolds is dead.
Reynolds
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mike Murdaugh is done. I apologize. And Jesse DeZarn had to take a plea as well. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Rebecca Roars didn't end up going to prison for this, though.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was a much lesser thing, and she testified against him and agreed
She had to have left the state, right?
You
can't stay in Wittmann. There's only 666 people there.
You got to run from Wittmann. 664. Damn. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the prison isn't there. So.
What's his ass in prison, too?
DeZarn. Christ, they're dropping like flies. Somebody's got to go repopulate this place.
Yeah, number's getting smaller.
So we didn't have time for the second case today. I apologize. We'll do it on a bonus at one point because it's a really fucking crazy case about a guy.
Great.
An At one point, he's got 2 guns, one for each of you. It's that cool. It's some Tombstone shit, but happened in Phoenix in the 30s. It's dope. We'll do that on a bonus episode.
Speaking of Phoenix, it's starting to annoy me that those are called Miranda rights. They shouldn't be called Miranda rights. They should be named after the detective who fucked it up and didn't read them to him. You know what I mean? I don't want him to be
not the poor bastard who didn't get rid of their rights.
I don't want it read. I don't want these to be called rapist rights because that's what they are. That's what he did, and he got off on a technicality.
It was Miranda versus.
Yeah, I get it. We should call it.
Appeal, so.
We should call it the detective that fucking didn't read them. That asshole.
Detective fucking Johnson.
Right.
Yeah.
Johnson rights. That feels right because it's a dick right.
Did you Johnsonize him? Okay, because they asked Miranda, did you Mirandize him? Did you Johnsonize him? Okay, good. All right, we can ask him questions then.
That's what I wish we had it like that anyway.
That'd be interesting. That's a good point. So,
thank you guys so much for listening. Rate and review.
Rate and review. That's fucking Wittmann.
Yeah.
That's a shithole Wittmann.
Wow.
Definitely rate and review, though. Do that. Rate, review, whatever app you're listening on. You definitely also want to follow us on social media. Lots of new updates and things like that. We are at Murder Small on Twitter, at Smalltown Pod on Facebook, at Smalltown Murder on Instagram. In addition to that, you want to get in on Patreon, everybody. Patreon.com/CrimeInSports. This week, 2 goddamn amazing episodes.
Terrific.
We're going to do personal ads for Crime and Sports. And by the way, $5 or above, you get access to everything. Crime and Sports bonus episodes, Small Town Murders, the whole back catalog. There's like 150 episodes in the back catalog.
It's all there.
Tons of shit you can listen to. Check all that out. And this week, Crime and Sports personal ads we're going to do. Personal ads from throughout the decades from newspapers, and they're fucking hilarious. They are listener favorites. Those are we've had people going, hey, it's been a few months since personal ads. Can we have some more?
How did people get blowjobs before Tinder? We'll tell you.
We'll tell you all about it, scarily enough. And then we also have this week, and kind of in the same vein, we have now the modern version. We're going to talk about, this is like listener request Patreon. These are like a couple of requests we've had a lot of, and we're going to get them out in one shot here because they're interesting too. We're going to talk about the Tinder Swindler documentary and this asshole and what's happened to him since then, because it's even funnier. Because now he thinks he's cool and famous.
He's such a dildo.
There's a documentary about me. Now I can get pussy on merit. It's like, no, you can't,
the documentary's about my success. Fuck you.
Scumbag shit. So we'll talk all about that and how easily you can get duped by somebody who plays it the right way. Right. And he set up like a love Ponzi scheme, essentially.
Amazing. Yeah.
And it's pretty bad stuff. So you can hear about all of that and more. Patreon.com/CrimeInSports. And also you'll get a shout out, which we're going to do in just a moment here at the end of the show. And you're going to get a shout out, and we're going to say how wonderful you are. Jimmy's going to fuck your name up, even though he feels bad about it, especially if it's Italian. You have no chance. My name's the only Italian last name he knows how to say.
All right.
That's only because he's heard me say it 600 times on the show. Otherwise,
it took me a couple tries.
Took you a couple tries. So there's that. Check all that out. And if you just want to make a donation, have great karma, and of course, get your shout out, you can do that as well over at PayPal using our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com. That said, Jimmie, hit me with the names of the people who would never, ever, ever lure me to a fucking shithole on the wanting of a threesome so they could beat me to death with a jackhammer spike. Hit me with them now.
This week's executive producers are Liz Vasquez, who came to the show this weekend in Chicago.
Yeah.
She brought you a nice book that you mentioned on a Patreon show, and I will bring that
cool.
to you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I saw her in the front. Hello, Liz. There, I saw you. Thank you.
Roland Vogan, Jordan Bennett, of course, Janice Hill. She donates every damn week. Thank you, Janice.
So
Kyle
nice.
Mitchum, it's just Ann Anderson, Joka the Midnight Toga, Taylor Astridge, and Jack Hillman. Thank you guys truly for what you do for us.
For everything.
And I hope that you love what we give back. Other producers this week are Charles Hugel, Bo from Sweden, Jessica Finch. Oh, Jess, thank you. Jason Barnes, Corporal Carl Kirshner, Mason Quist. Oh, so there was an ambulance called to the show in... I think it was Chicago.
I heard that.
Was it Chicago?
It was
no, it was Milwaukee.
It was Minneapolis.
I don't even know where I went. Minneapolis. Split his knee on a stair.
I know. He felt tired. We didn't know about it till like the next day. We were like, no shit. That happened like behind the...
Yeah.
Not like in the showroom. It was like behind. Yeah.
Yeah. Evidently fine. So
wasn't like an Astro World situation. Don't worry.
Heal up, Mason.
Yes,
Jason
please.
with no last name Forrest, the South African birdwasher whore, Captain Lou Albino, Carolyn Gala, free the pepperoni nips, evidently. Thrilled with it. Happy Hour checking in from El Paso. Jess Capanello, an Uber driver, asked us to come to their wedding. Joey Pepperoni Nips.
Hey.
Jeff Shrewsbury, firm butt cheeks. I hope you're proud of yourself. Alfred fucking Arvizo. Arvizu. Happy birthday, Kendra, Mason's girlfriend, birthday. I think.
Mason's girlfriend, Kendra.
Mason didn't specify. It just said they listened to, or they watched the live show in a cemetery, which is fucking crazy. I hope that's your girlfriend. You don't just take a strange. Steve
Schnell. Like his dead aunt or something.
Steve Schnell, Lucas, what the fuck at Dakota Digital? Your boss said get back to work because he paid for this. Evan Adkins, good. Jordan Locke, Danielle Johnson, Emily Tarchakov.
Wow.
I don't know.
We can do this all night, Jimmy.
Teresa Lowe, Brent with no last name, Heather Luty, J Quads 12, Martine Harris, Carla Harris, M Fishboy Brummer, Amy Davies, Jacob McMurray, Fox Run Pottery Studios on Etsy, Mona with no last name, Mick B, Tech Wiz 33, Kristen Thurston, Mia Jones, Joe Robinette, Tyler Merrill, Kristen Bursey, Aaron Smith, P. Diddy Kong, Corey Huggins, Sean P. Casey, Karen Cromartie, also Karen Weist Cromartie, same person, I imagine. Jeff Wunkel, Dominique Mooney, Sean Glennon, Ricky Ibanez, Quinn B., Brian Neff, Zip Lancaster, Winter with no last name, Ryan, nope, that's Jeremy. What? Clark?
Wow, those are different names.
Jeremy
Very different
Clark.
names.
Elena Toller, Heidi Allen, Vanessa Gill, D.W., Anna Jazopovich, Daniel Newton, Justin Anderson, Melissa Walters, Elizabeth Che, Alan Hansen, Barking Spider, gross, D.D. Warren Lehner, Charles with no last name, Tyler Thompson, Molly Murphy, Carrie Curioke, oh boy, Jordan Fouts, Michaela with no last name, Kayla Moen of that Moen fortune, Jacinth Blue, I think, Bridget Summerlin, Tyler Owens, Carrie with no last name, Robin Howmunt, I think, Samantha Seaman, Jesus, Sam, I'm so sorry, Sam, Maria Furiolo, Jabari Photos, Paige Agard, Rory Highland, Michelle Leckman, Tanya with no last name, Carolina Soto, Aaron Sherrick, Megan Halsey, Pamela Brown, Elysia Nice, Thomas with no last name, Madeline B., Mike Lucero, Christopher Starks, Glenn Burley, David Beckmeyer, Concord, Joe Dirt, Melissa Simon, Tiffany Summers, Nicole Moore, Rachel Lafleur, Linda Gruss, Megan Cowell, Sean Sloan, Deb Schrader, Memory Alexander, Biggie Cheese, Nicholas Moore, Nelson with no last name, Rory Keane, Julie Zuschner, Emmett Wolf, Theodorus Christos.
Yes.
Kendra Kitchen, Darren Lawrence Jones, Olivia Jensen, Charlie Yonkers, Sophie Pirone, Derek Pritzel, yep, Jacob, nope, that's just Jake Jewell, Hunter Payne, Dan Kiker, jeez Louise, Andrea with no last name, Kaylee with no last name, Ronnie Ludlam, Dan Burheit, Berhidi, Plurplexed, Sam Dean, 80 Torin, Beth with no last name, Davina with no last name, Quentin Snyders, Warren Lewis, John Holder, Elizabeth with no last name, Morgan Brewer, Morgan Berry, Chance Plower,
Chance.
Blake Haney, Rose Vick, Mackenzie Stoter, Aaron Hay, Paula Hinkle, John Popma. Good Christ. Nicole Fick, Danny with no last name, Taryn S., Nicholas Meringue, Damian Gortman, Becca Chudecki, John Stewart, probably not, Mike Yeager, Billy Gordon, Bernadette Pavlik, Caitlin with no last name, Taylor Washington, Ethan Kanzler, Kevin Schrader, Frederick Hammond, Shamika Andrews, Shaman Trumbo, Patrick Whittington, Robert Keller, Austin Pritchard, Danielle Morris, Stacy Lazarick, Michelle Blackstone, Zalee Lewis, Tim O'Shea, Kevin Lowe, S.H. Park, Danish Sheik, Carrie with no last name, Melissa Nelson, Ethan with no last name, Lisa Maynard, Matt Roth, Justin Phoebus, Amanda, nope, that's Autumn Moon, Chris Napawikawaki, Amanda Greiser, Marissa Allen McLovin, 1967, Melissa Dunmeyer, and William Forsyth, and all of our patrons. You guys are terrific. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, from the bottom of our hearts. Honestly, thank you so much. It really does. It feels really good. And these live shows, man, you got to get your tickets to live shows.
It's really the best show.
It's such a good time. Columbus and Pittsburgh, or Pittsburgh and then Columbus, April 8th and April 9th. Get your tickets now, and then there's a bunch throughout the rest of the year. A lot of these are getting either close to sold out or are already sold out because they were rescheduled shows. So, like, I know Pittsburgh and Columbus are 90% sold out.
You're not going to meet two more comedians that are full of enough humility to tell you thank you so much for supporting them. But we're very proud of them. Our live show is we want you to come back. How about that?
You've heard both of us say the shit that we're bad at constantly. You say, I've been working on my car. I'm like, I don't even know how the fucking thing works. Like, I'm not embarrassed to say I'm terrible at shit. We throw down on those shows, period.
So much fun.
You're going to laugh. It's going to be a great comedy show. Yeah. We would not do them unless they were really good. Right. We don't do shit that we don't think is good. So
it's not a cash grab. We want you to come back. We want to grab again. We want to give you such a show that you're willing to come back and see another one.
There's a reason why a lot of people have seen us 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times because they come back, they see it. One tour, they'll see us one place, and the next tour, we'll see them at 3 different cities because they had such a good time, and it's so much fun. So thank you for doing that. We really do appreciate it. And if you want to find us, go to the website. You know where to find us. Yeah. Or just Google Small Town Murder Podcast Hosts. We're the only goddamn ones out there, regardless of people trying to fucking siphon off of our name, which has happened quite recently and frequently. So
we may be the most ripped off people in podcasting.
We get ripped off a lot. Because we're kind of under the radar to where you think maybe I can rip them off and no one will notice. Yeah. Maybe no one Big will notice.
They don't know
that if you steal from a couple of certain ones, they'll notice.
Right. They don't know that the people that listen to us will rat you out. They will tell us.
They will. They'll take you down, too.
The vitriol is coming.
They're meaner than us. Yeah. They're meaner than us. They're in defense of us, our people are great. So thank you for doing that, and keep doing that. And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.